It's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hey y'all, welcome man. What's going on? It's your boy Chris Avalon. Welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, the show we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news and hot topics of pop culture. So that's a show for you. Definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today, including some little Scream 7 news we got to get into. Plus, we got all this Koonye West drama that's going on, how he's out here airing out his baby mama. And they calling him a bit of a hypocrite. That he calling her a sex trafficker when he hanging out with the Tate brothers. Plus, Tina Knowles has weighed in on him calling her young grandbabies the R word. Plus, it seems like UMG is being taken to court yet again. It's like Iggy Azalea is dragging them, Drake is dragging them, and now we got Limp Bizkit is going after them and saying that basically they're seeking $200 million in royalties. So we got to talk about that. Elon Pompeo is getting dragged over her recent interview on the Call Me Daddy podcast, where she was basically talking about how she was salty that Patrick Dempsey was paid more than her on Grey's Anatomy. So we got to talk about that. Plus, we got to talk about that old Zionist that's about to appear in the movie as the Wicked Witch, Miss Gal Gadot, in a couple of hours. Or it might be happening already because it is 6 o'clock when we're doing this show. But apparently, Miss Gal got a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and she got dogged by, well, there was pro-Israel and pro-Palestine protesters that appeared at her star at the Hollywood Walk of Fame out in LA. And it was a whole mess that was going out there. So we got to talk about that. Plus, the internet is dragging Justin Timberlake for looking older than his actual age. He's 44, look like he's going on 64, and saying that, you know what, all that shade and all that other stuff that he was doing in the past, it caught up with him. Guess you need to drink that serum, honey, to maintain your youth. So we got to talk about that. Plus, Elon Musk's estranged daughter, Vivian, is dragging him because she appears in the latest issue of Teen Vogue. And yeah, she's out here dragging her father. So we got to talk about that. And speaking of trans, we got to get into Miss Isis King because the America's Next Top Model alum is reflecting on her time on the show and weighing on this whole thing. Everybody's been going, and like what Tyra Banks been saying, like, yeah, the show wasn't perfect. We was doing a lot of things for the girls and this, that, and the other. Did we get it right all the time? No. And Isis is weighing on that. Plus, we've got 2 Drag Race girls that's talking about they will be down to caca with each other on OnlyFans. I'll let you know who those are. Plus, we got to talk about how, well, we've been mentioning it. It seems like a lot of times in passing on the show. Well, Pink News decided to make an article out of it, so we're going to talk about it. Apparently now this thing is resurfacing of a certain season 17 queen may be appearing on All Stars 10. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. It is not a lot going on. I want to see how many topics do I have? About 10, same as yesterday. I don't think it'll be a 3-hour show though, but it's we got 10 topics, so it's not a lot going on. If y'all can, please do me a solid and hit that like button and that subscribe button. Also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. And I will be throwing in some timestamps throughout the show once the live stream is over, so that way you would just fast forward or click right to the topics that you want to get into and you want to hear my opinions on, and then y'all know what to do. Y'all can leave y'all comments in the chat, the live chat, or in the post chat when I cut up the episodes and upload them to YouTube and this, that, and the other. So let me hit my banner. And without further ado, let's get to our first topic and let's talk about this Scream 7 news. So there is rumors circulating that Scream 7 might be moving from its February 2026, sorry, we're in 2025, 2026 release date. Now, the thing is, I don't know if y'all heard or if y'all even are aware, but Scream 7 wrapped filming, I believe, last week. So they're done. I don't necessarily know if they're leaving it open for reshoots or whatever the case is. I think they pretty much locked in everything, but I'm sure that like every movie, they open up for reshoots depending on like test screenings, whatever the case is. So the movie is supposed to come out February 27th of 2026. Now they're talking about they may move it up a bit early. And I'm noticing that in the past couple of days, there have been a lot of shifts in movie releases. I just heard that Weapons, the movie that Zach Kreger, who is now directing a reboot of Resident Evil. He directed this big movie that everybody's talking about with Josh Brolin and oh my god, the actress that's supposed to be playing Julia Garner. Who was supposed to be playing? I was gonna say the actress is playing Madonna, but then her name came to me as I'm telling y'all. So the word on the curb is that they actually moved that movie up. That was supposed to come out in January 2026. Now I believe it's coming out in August or September, one of those months. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it is coming out this fall now, late summer, early fall. So they're moving things around. A lot of things is getting shuffled in the thing. So I would not be surprised if they did this with Scream 7. And I actually think it's a good idea that they do that. If your movie is done, y'all started filming in January, you were going to be done around March. They look like they've been pretty much on schedule. The only thing, as y'all know, I've been irritated about is the fact that they were revealing too much of who's going to be a part of the cast, especially bringing back a lot of people who are presumed dead. I'm irritated by the fact that y'all revealed all of that because I feel like I was saying before, it comes from a place of insecurity that y'all are worrying about these fans that are out here dragging the movie because y'all fired Melissa Barrera. And I've been seeing the comments online because I don't know. Well, y'all probably are aware, but a couple of days ago it was announced that we're not getting Saw 11 because there's some infighting with production, with the producers and those other stuff. Lionsgate cannot get them to make the movie because I believe Twisted Pictures actually owns the rights. So they're struggling so they can't be given, y'all need to just hash it out and get this damn movie made. They don't have that kind of control. Twisted Pictures owns the rights. They get to decide what happens. And apparently they're saying that the producers cannot come to a conclusion or decision on what they want to do with the film. So therefore, the movie is not happening for now. Hopefully, though, if they can't get things done, it'll get shipped on somewhere else. I heard Blumhouse is interested in getting it. They could use a hit over there, quiet as it's kept, because a lot of the Blumhouse movies have not really been giving me what I need as of late. I know they're probably hoping that it will with Megan 2.0, but a lot of the movies between, Imaginary, and then you had the AI film and all this other stuff that was coming out, and then the one with the pool and all that other mess. There's been a lot of bad movies coming out of Blumhouse, so they could use a hit over there. Now, in regards to the whole Scream thing, they're saying that the reason why they may move it is because, oh wait, I didn't even finish the other thing. So because of what happened with Saw 11 being, we're not getting it, I've been seeing a lot of posts on Twitter, from the haters, the Scream haters, that are saying, oh, well, it should have been Scream 7 that should have been canceled, not Saw 11. So people are still out here, still salty about the fact that this movie is made, that their that girl that only did 2 damn movies instead of Nev Campbell, who was in about 5 out of the 7, or should I say now 6, because it was Scream 1, Scream 2, Scream 3, Scream 4, Scream 5. She had a cameo. So yeah, she appeared in 6 out of the 7 movies. Courtney Cox has been in all of them. So she's made history as like the only actress that I believe that has appeared in all 7 sequels to a horror movie. But what you have with Nev Campbell, she appeared in 6 out of the 7. She didn't appear in the last one due to a pay disparity. So now that all this other mess happened because they had the reaction with Melissa Barrera, then they wanted to go and, oh, we're desperate. We need to bring Sydney back because they didn't want to have to start over again with a whole nother story, which I feel like they should have just did that. If y'all pretty much wrapped Sydney's story up in a nice little bow, y'all should just let her move on, and we should have just gotten a whole new cast of kids, and then y'all could have just started from scratch in a whole new town with some whatever idea that y'all can come up with. But they didn't do that. So now we're getting Sydney back. I'm hoping the movie doesn't suck. I'm rooting that it's going to be a good movie, and I'm going to go see it because as a fan of the franchise since the very beginning, which was 1996, I'm going to support a film that I am a fan of. Now, do I agree with, and I have to always reiterate this, do I agree with how not Radio Silence, how Scott, what, damn, I forgot the name of the damn production company. Do I agree with how they handled Melissa Barrera's situation? No, I do not agree with how they handled it. It does irritate me. However, why should everybody who is looking for a job, the crew, the filmmakers, the actors, everybody who works behind the scenes, why do they have to suffer because of a decision that Spyglass, now it comes to me, has made over an actress who was showing that she was for Palestine and against the genocide of the Palestinian people at the hands of the people over at Israel and Netanyahu and all the mess that he's doing over there. So people were upset about it, rightfully so, but I hate the fact that you get these incels on Twitter that just start with their stupidity. So now they're saying that the rumor is, nobody, it hasn't been confirmed, but I've been seeing like Discussing Film has mentioned it, all these other things, that they may, well, they didn't say that they're going to remove it, but they're saying that the Cat in the Hat animated movie is now coming out on February 27th, the same day as Scream 7. So people are wondering, does this mean that they're gonna move it? And the reason why that they've come to that thought process is because let's take a trip back a couple of years to 2022, or not even 2022, 2011, when Scream 4 came out. So Scream 4, when it came out in 2011, the reason why that movie didn't do all that great, and I like Scream 4, but the movie kind of floundered a bit because they had an animated film that came out called Rio that went up against it, and Rio did gangbusters at the box office. So while horror has a niche market, horror definitely gets a lot of people, like they have a loyal fan base and all this other stuff. When it boils down to it, you have a lot of you have families with kids, or parents with kids, I should say. So you have whole families that will go to the theater to take their kids to see this movie. And Cat in the Hat has been around long before there's been a Scream franchise. So you already know, due to the nostalgia, you're going to have a lot of parents who are going to want to introduce their kids to the Cat in the Hat. And we've had Cat in the Hat animated stuff before, and then we also had The Grinch That Stole Christmas and all that with Jim Carrey. But with this, I really feel like the Cat in the Hat, that may kill it at the box office. So if they got it going up against this movie, Scream, y'all might be in danger. I think if you are fully confident in this movie being what it is, because we haven't seen it yet, so I don't know what the plot is. I don't know what's about. We've all been online speculating. And I've actually been dodging a couple of the pundits on YouTube, like the Critical Overlords. You know, I love you, sir. However, you be doing too much with the spoilers. And so there was one where he did a recent video and I refused to watch it because I'm like, I don't want to know who the opening kills are, allegedly. I don't want to know who the opening people are there's going to be. People going to be in the opening, all that stuff. I want to actually go into this film not knowing as much as possible. And I understand a lot of these pundits, they gotta do their due diligence and fulfill a quota and get their views and their clicks and likes and the algorithms and the little money from YouTube or whatever. However, like I've said many a times, when it comes to certain type of genres, certain type of films, I like to go in not knowing as much as possible. You can tell me the plot. I'll see the trailer. I don't want to know every minute detail, especially when these are unconfirmed reports. These are unconfirmed situations. You've heard this from some little birdie from somewhere that we don't know where they from, and they've been out here speculating. And then we see the movie. It's completely a complete different scenario to the rumors and everything that a lot of the pundits are spoiling on social media. So I try to avoid all that. But as I said before, I am excited. Politics aside, I am excited for Scream. I'm still pissed off about Spyglass and all the other mess that they was doing, but I am looking forward to seeing this movie. I'm a fan of Neve Campbell and Sidney Prescott in the Scream franchise, so I want to see what they're going to be doing with these legacy characters that are supposed to be dead, like Stu and Dewey and Roman and so many others, and if we might get some surprise cameos from other names that haven't been mentioned that are possibly dead or who were ghost faces. So we'll see what the plot is. I'm excited. But yeah, I do think if you have this movie locked in, I don't think it's going to take long for y'all to edit it. It's a slasher film. It's not like you're doing an action movie that needs a whole lot of special effects. It's not like you're doing a $150 million budget movie or a $300 million budget movie. Well, I don't know what the budget is for this film, but it's a slasher movie where you could just use a mixture of CGI and practical effects. and props and things of that nature. You don't need 6 months to a year, which literally this movie's coming out a year from now, ish, give or take. You don't need a whole year to just have a movie sitting in the vault to release it. Why not release it early? If you filmed it early in the year, why not drop it in the third, like in the fourth quarter? Why not drop it in September or October? It would make perfect sense for a Scream movie to come out in September or October rather than a damn February. So that doesn't make sense why they have it that far ahead. But since it's full steam ahead, I hope they do consider moving the movie up. I mean, to a couple of months rather than us having to wait a whole year for this movie to be seen in the theater. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Are you hoping that we can get Scream 7 sooner rather than later? Because, like I said, it's supposed to be going up now. It's going head to head with Cat in the Hat. And if you got this horror movie going up against a family film, it could spell trouble for the franchise, especially when, Spyglass is on thin ice right now, and they're really trying to keep this franchise going outside of the controversies of firing Melissa Barrera, not having Jenna Ortega back. They do have half of the core four returning, but for the most part, it's just like they've got a lot to prove with this film, and they can't screw this up. Because I know they just want to see if this movie can still do gangbusters by looking into the past of bringing Sidney Prescott back and the old gang. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. So let me close my windows so that when we get to the other topics, let's see who's in the comments. You said Spyglass should have turned a blind eye instead of acting like goddamn Gestapo. Okay. I don't understand why Spyglass even decided to jump into the conversation anyway. Because it's funny, I was like, look, you have Rachel Ziegler out here trying to backpedal off of stuff that she said in the past, especially like when she went at Disney for some of the changes. Now I'm starting to hear more reviews coming out, and a lot of people are not giving those same reviews that came out early in the week, which, of course, people are going to go, well, y'all were bought and paid for, or y'all just making up BS for attention. Because I know, like, I saw Jeff Johns did a review, I saw Christian Harlow did a review, and he said that he talked about what the issues for that film was, the fact that they said that, and I knew this from the beginning, Gal Gadot was miscast, which I kind of knew. I was like, y'all couldn't have got Charlize Theron to come back as the witch. I mean, she was the witch in the other Snow White movie, Snow White and the Huntsman, the one with Kristen Stewart. But I'm like, but she's a better actress. So you could have brought her in there, but they were just like, whatever she was doing, it was just like, it just wasn't working. But I always said that Gal Gadot was very one note. She's very monotonous. She's pretty to look at, but as far as if you expect the range to come out of her, that ain't coming. But so yeah, but then a lot of people, he was like, yeah, Rachel Ziegler basically carries the movie. She has a great voice, all this other stuff. People are getting mad at him. And this is like, why y'all get mad at people's opinion? If I can't stand when people already have this preconceived notion, you're just going to hate something regardless. And that's what reminds me of the whole Scream thing. Even if I was someone to go and say, oh, this movie is, it had its moments, but this is what I liked about it. This is what I didn't like about it. Y'all just be wanting people to just hate on stuff because y'all hate on stuff. And if their opinion doesn't match yours, it's either you've been bought and paid for, meaning the studio was actually gave you a check to come to that opinion, or you're a misogynist, or you're this, or you're that. And it's like, eat a bag of dicks. Because in my opinion is my opinion, and your opinion is your opinion. I don't understand how people always want you to agree with everything that they agree with. We ain't never had to deal with that mess pre-internet. Now it's like all of a sudden, everybody want everybody to think like them. Well, if that's what you want, then you go ahead and you put yourself in a place where that happens. But me, I march to a beat of my own damn drum. Onyx says, I think I went to see Rio in theaters that weekend with my cousins, or it was the original. I don't know. I remember watching Scream at a young age too. Well, who didn't watch? I was going to say, well, who didn't watch horror movies at a young age? There were things I was not supposed to be watching when I was young. Like I remember when I was little, I was watching like VHSs of like Friday the 13th and all that other stuff. I wasn't supposed to be watching that. I do agree with that. Trailers do be showing too much, which be getting me annoyed that They show too much, they reveal too much. Like y'all be spoiling things in the trailer, and then the excuse is, "Oh, the people want it." What people? Because I don't. I don't want to be able to go into a theater and to be able to predict scenes or expect certain scenes to come up because y'all want to spoil it in a commercial because you think that we're too dumb or you're worried about that we're not going to support a movie. That doesn't make sense. Or they think, oh, we won't go to the movies and support it, so we got to put everything in it. Mickey 17 was great with that goddamn trailer, the whole damn movie. I heard it was a good movie, but unfortunately, it just didn't. I know it didn't do well at the box office. But from what I heard, it was the marketing that hurt it. Like, why didn't people like just say Bong Joon-ho, the guy who directed Parasite and all those other stuff? Y'all should have been pushing for that to get people into the theater. Y'all just put this weird trailer up. People are like, what the hell is this? It didn't, I guess, rein them in. And then with the Robert Pattinson, I would have put up the from the person who played Batman or whatever, like really ham it up for trying to get certain audiences to show up for the movie. Hoping to see Emma back. She was one of the one that I was wondering, do you think she might be a surprise entry in the franchise that they holding back? Dr. Seuss literally, oh, who you telling? I've been to it. Yeah, I knew about Dr. Seuss being a racist, publishing comics with racial caricatures, but no swept under the rug in favor of unconditional zeal support. Yeah, because I remember hearing stories about that. And Mark Twain. I remember they started trying to remove the N-word from Huckleberry Finn. I'm like, no, y'all need to leave that in there. Like, I don't understand as much, even though it is cringe when you read books and you see certain things, I do feel like people need to, when you read certain books, you need to understand the mindset of where people were at the time that they wrote the book, so that way we don't repeat history. I saw that, but I'm just like, at this point, I'm so sick of her. I'm so sick of Ryan Reynolds. I'm so sick of all of this mess. It said Great Britain and Germany has banned us from entering their countries. But wait a minute, if I want to go to Germany and if I want to leave this messed up ass country and go to Germany, why can't I? You can't ban us. Ban Trump ugly ass. And they ban their citizens from traveling to us. I heard and definitely believe it's going to be a bad tourist season. And you know what? They don't realize that tourism, all that other stuff, it helps our economy. And this man, all he's good at is tanking things. He's good at tanking our economy. He went bankrupt 6 times. How do y'all think a man who went bankrupt 6 times is going to save our country and help with financial endeavors? All the stupid, chaotic stuff that he's doing, where you're actually just grabbing immigrants, even ones who have visas, putting them on a plane without due process and shipping them off to a country before what was it, Venezuela, before they could even seek legal counsel. Like, what are you doing? And then I'm seeing the videos online of them being pulled off the planes. They're told to kneel. They're getting their heads shaved, and then they're like bending, pushing them down, and they're walking like this, which is a form of intimidation. So, which is crazy. And then on top of that, we got Chuck Schumer, wide back ass, who he need to step the fuck down, who's ruining everything. He's giving Trump and them the keys to the kingdom. Like, what the hell are you doing? And all the Democrats are pissed at him. And he's on this book tour that nobody's gonna buy. And he's being dragged by people. Sonny Hostin got in his ass. Chris Hayes got into his ass what is he on, MSNBC? Like, everybody's dogging him. He even got mad because Chris Hayes has his book upside down. He's like, we're going to show a picture of it on the screen anyway. We're like, what are you getting mad for? You worrying about your damn book that people can that nobody's going to read. And then he's up there trying to defend the mess he's saying and couldn't even come up with a valid reason. And it's like, in their mind, they literally, and I knew this shit was going to happen, and they just proved it. These motherfuckers that's in the Democratic Party really think that we're in 2017. They are still mentally 7 years behind. Well, now it's 8 years. But they are like trapped in the past. It's like, that was 2017. So the things that y'all was doing back then, that works. But what I truly believe, I really believe that, well, first of all, I already wrote what I wrote on Facebook. I truly believe that Chuck Schumer ain't for us. He's for Wall Street. Those are the people that donate and give them money. Then you got Hakeem Jeffries, crooked teeth having ass, over here going over to California to do donations or garner up donations and get money for the midterms. Why the fuck are we worrying about 2026 right now? We're in 2024. That's 2 years from now. Y'all don't need to be worrying about trying to gather money from rich people because y'all got a case of FOMO, and Silicon Valley is already rallied behind these crazy Republicans and the current president. So now y'all want a piece of that pie and y'all getting mad. So now y'all trying to cozy up to them. So they all need to go. He needs to go. Chuck Schumer needs to go. So he out here thinking, he's out here being delusional, and then when he said something that was incorrect, Chris Hayes had to defend him, and then he changed his mind. Then he changed what he said. So it's like, you really don't believe in anything. And you started to notice this in these interviews, and I really hope that we get more liberal reporters who push back on people in the party who are doing certain things and saying certain things, and we see where they stand on stuff and call them out. So these people in this country, for the Republicans and the Democrats, y'all are pissing me off. The only ones I really like that I feel like is doing something, and say what you want about them, but at least they fighting. At least they're doing way more than the Hakeem Jeffries and the Chuck Schumers and so many other weak politicians who don't do shit but just move their. They're like the ones where you got food on a plate and you just move it around, making it look like you eating, but you're not really eating. That's what they do. That's what they do in politics. That's how they treat politics. They just move shit around, make it look like they working when they ain't doing nothing. So I'm here for AOC. I'm here for Jasmine Crockett. I'm here for Max Fox. I'm here for even Tim Walz is out here speaking and doing things. I just saw earlier that AOC just joined Bernie Sanders at a rally. So they're out there working. They're out there riling everybody up, getting the party started, and going into the purple states to speak to the people who are frustrated over what Trump is doing. So what is Hakeem Jeffries and them doing? You got that old fuck, that fat bastard, just like his cousin Amy. I can't stand that bitch either. So you got this one out here on a damn book tour for a book ain't nobody gonna buy, and embarrassing his own damn party by basically licking Trump's taint about, well, we can't have anything closed down. We can't let the house close down. Why not? Call a bluff. They need, and you didn't even come with stuff when you went to them. They needed you to sign, they needed you and the retarded lurch looking one, Fetterman. They needed all of y'all to sign on things. And y'all went with it. You could have came in with some negotiations. Don't touch Medicaid. Don't touch food stamps. Don't touch these things. We'll give you a couple of things what you want, but we need negotiations on our side too. And even if y'all would have said no, they're doing whatever the hell they want and going by and bypassing the laws anyway. So why do you think we have to reach across the line and I'm going to have a conversation with Democrats because it's like we're riding on a bike at a gym? I'm like, motherfucker, you ain't seen a bike or a gym since 2010. Get off my line with that mess. Now y'all getting me started. I was not trying to come up in here and talk politics today. This year, so everybody says, I'm just like, I'm over it. They said the movie felt too close to home. Mark Ruffalo hits too close. Wait, what are you talking about? What movie? AOC got 85%. Oh, excuse me, 85% of being the face of the Democrat. Yeah, they basically saying that they want fresh meat, they want young blood up in there, and they want him out. We will win. We will win. We will win. Are y'all excited when you see somebody act like that on camera? Is the party riled up? Y'all excited? You really gonna vote for some old man that got about a foot and a half in a damn grave? We will win. Where's your energy? Do I gotta stick my whole fist up your ass to make you move like those, those things that be flailing around the car dealerships? Like, where's the energy? He don't have it. And like I said, if y'all don't have the fight in you, if you just want to just be a dino, which is a Democrat name only, but move like a damn Republican, then move to the side. Because we do need fresh blood. And that's the thing that irritates me about people, particularly them old bastards at The View, because they do that shit too. Y'all always want to look down on the young people. Well, we were doing it. Well, you ain't doing it no more. Y'all don't got the fight. So move to the side. The younger people are hungry. The younger people want to do what needs to be done. And when they step out of line, we can hold their feet to the fire too. But in the meantime, they're actually out here doing what needs to be done. They're out here actually on the trenches fighting for democracy. Because apparently, according to Chuck Schumer, Chuck, or should I call him Cuck Schumer, because he is cucked by Wall Street and those billionaires, where I feel like he's not interested in fighting. They're not interested in fighting. They're just happy they got a position and they think that position is going to last forever. No, you need to move. You need to move to the side. And I don't know when he's supposed to be up for his position. I think it's in 2 years. Is that during the midterms when we could vote his ass out? That might be around the time. Because we definitely need somebody up in there that's going to do what needs to be done. And you need to go after these oligarchs and these robber barons who are literally dismantling everything with a wrecking ball to what's left of our country. And they still running on ideas about 2017 and running on something with like old 90s stuff. They will never get left Joe Rogan because we pushed him to the Republicans. Well, his fans is done with him. After he started out here basically eating Elon Musk's stank ass, his fans is pretty much pissed at him. And then he's out here crying because he's losing, or like people are not buying his Teslas. But you wouldn't do it. And he's like, but I thought Democrats were the people who were more understanding and reasonable. I don't know who told you that. Maybe some of them, maybe the ones you be hanging out with, but no. And it's not just Democrats that are pissed off at you. When you start going and hacking the Treasury and you start going in and start cutting away at Medicare and Medicaid and cancer research, now you're going after AIDS research and you're going after all these, USAID. When you start going after all these things, what do you expect is going to happen? You think these people just going to sit there and be like, oh, hell, Elon Musk, we worship everything you do. Everything you do is great. We didn't vote for your ugly, leather-faced looking ass. So I don't know why you out here thinking that these people are not going to protest and hit you where it hurts, which I always say, hit them where it hurts. They pocket and it's hitting them where it hurts. And now he out here crying like a bitch because he's losing. His stock is tanking. So much so that you have the idiot in chief having to do freaking Crazy Eddie car sales. Remember him back in the day? These prices are insane. Yeah, I'm taking it back. He's doing these Crazy Eddie car sales on the lawn of the White House because he's mad. Because, well, first of all, he's got to go and get in on his investment. When somebody give you over damn near $300 million to become the president because you knew your ass was going to go to jail if you didn't, you got to pay off your debt. So what do you expect? And so when you start cutting away at people's and then going after veterans and their money, when you start going after all of this, and that's why I saw this recent video that there was a Republican politician and this man stood up. I was like, oh, I want to jump on him because it was like a big man from the military. He got up there, was like, F you, you don't care about me and all this other mess. And they had him escorted out by the cops. Then everybody else started jumping in because he jumped up and he went in after them. So people are going in on these Republicans and they don't even want them doing town halls. So I don't think we've hit our rock bottom yet, but we hitting the tip there. We on the edge of glory. We on the tip of the iceberg. Oh, you talking about Mickey 17. I said we damn sure do. We need a third party that isn't bought by by corporate interests and lobbyists that want endless wars. We've been saying, like, okay, now if you get in there with people, what we need is somebody who is not interested in where you could just take small donations, and that's from the people. If we, the people, rise up and donate money and don't look to Silicon Valley and oligarchs and robber barons and the what the hell is his name? The people that own Meta, the one that own Apple, the one that owns all these other things, Prime Video and all that other mess. If you don't go to these people for money, they don't get to control what happens. Remember, they're the 1% for a reason. We the 99. So 99, last time I checked, was higher than 1. Than the number 1. So, I mean, unless this country is so damn stupid, y'all not good at math. It looks like to me, we have the numbers. Now, if people wake up and collectively come together and go after their ass, we could take their ass on. But I don't think people have realized this yet because we've never been in this situation. There are other countries that have been in this situation or are currently in this situation, and we're about to go into it. So it comes to a point that, you know what, we just got to hit our rock bottom in order for the people to fight back. I just feel like that's what that is. But anyway, enough of that. Let me get off my soapbox so that way I can go and cuss this heifer out. And let's get into Koonye, who went on his little rant still, because he has an album out called Bully that I don't think anybody's listening to, quiet as it's kept. So he's got to go on social media, on Twitter, and start throwing around a bunch of disgusting things. He said something about Playboy Cardi. He said something about Iggy Azalea. He went in on Cassie. He leaked the audio of Diddy on a song that he did. Kim Kardashian's pissed at him because you have her child, Northwest, well, y'all child, your eldest, Northwest, rapping on a song that has Diddy on it. And that's a phone call that you recorded without his permission that you put on the song. But I found it funny because, Iggy Azalea dragged his ass. But because he mentioned her and Playboy Cardi's son. So I want to get to that, and then we'll get to the stuff about Kim Kardashian in a second. But I had to pull this up as a receipt because this is a cackle. So she said, it's crazy how much I actually know about that man and the things I could say. Thankfully, I'm nice and I don't want to involve people who don't deserve to be mixed into his manic episode. But let's keep it cute because I know who you send your penis pictures to and the weird fantasies you have / share with other men. Most of Hollywood does. It's not very well kept secret. And child, that he did. I forgot to mention he did apologize to her after she said what she said. So you running around trying to act like that you could just be Mr. Whatever, whatever, whatever. But look at Miss Iggy out here being like, sir, I know people who have told me some things about you and your little nasty fantasies that you be having. Because remember, once upon a time, not that long ago, he told Bianca Censori he wanted to fuck her mother and wanted Bianca to watch. And I think he said that about Pimp Mama Chris too, which is like, ugh. And I did look at Bianca Mother. Bianca Mother is attractive. She need to go and rescue her daughter. But if she want to sit around being with that old madman, what can you do? And she said, also true story, he asked me to fly to Wyoming and shoot the Yeezy campaign in 2020, and I declined. Men are delusional. Hopefully the women you date / marry consent to the pictures you send of them to other men. I'm not the person he should be talking about, trust, because I'm just as crazy, and I will tell it all if I hear my name mentioned one more motherfucking time. And then she said, keep me out your lover's quarrel. Iggy was sorry for, and then he goes and said, Ziggy, I was sorry for speaking on your kid. That was some, oh, I see what he said. He said that's some rhymes with maggot ass Cardi-ish to do. So you just wanted to run around and just say that F word for the sake of saying the F word. She said, yeah, I understand the point you wanted to make. I say this with kindness and as a mother, please leave my child out of this. At the end of the day, Jordan has other children, less famous, doesn't matter, but it seems only my son gets harassed in perpetuity about or on behalf of a man he has no relationship with. Does he read it? No, he's a child. But it creates a digital legacy in an odd blank situation for him to one day discover and endure in perpetuity from strangers online. Can I please have some peace? Can my son have some peace? And they said, hey, Iggy, I need to get Onyx vocals on my song. Child, why are you always trying to get somebody on your damn music? So after all of this, you now want to get her son on a song of yours. Like, no. Nobody wants to be on your horrible ass music. Like, go sit down somewhere. So you did all of this. You talk shit about her and her child, dragging her child in it because you mad at her baby father, who, according to Iggy, has no relationship with their son. And now you trying to say, can I get him on he your nephew? He ain't shit to you. So keep my child name out your mouth. I kind of wish that Beyonce and them would have this kind of energy. When it comes to things, y'all could go out here and sue Tony Busby and things, or somebody say something about y'all that y'all don't like, but you're not going after Koonye for making comments about your kids? We'll get into that in a second. So yeah, he went and said something. I decided North won't be doing any songs with Cardi. How it looked for me to get left off the album, and then he asked Kim to have vocals for my daughter. I don't a blank about none of this industry-ish and how it's a Skims line in the first place. Just because you put things in caps don't necessarily make you smart or highly intelligent. Like this, I'm reading this and my brain hurt trying to understand what you said. Now I understand why you named your album College Dropout, because you a dummy. So yeah, this is all what Iggy had to say on that. So now, word on the curb is that with that and with what he said about Beyonce and Jay-Z's twins, Rumi and Sir, calling them retarded. Now comes word that Kim is at her wits' end with him and maybe seeking legal action to get full custody of them babies. So she says, I had it officially with Koonye and his disgusting Twitter rants. Now, the Skims founder is appalled her ex-husband would use that kind of language about anybody, let alone when it comes to kids. This is what a source exclusively tells Page Six, saying Kim has had enough and is done trying to be reasonable with Koonye when it comes to communication. The Kardashian star, who's 44, finds the stronger rapper's post shocking and offensive and feels no matter what feud Kanye has going on with Jay and Bey, kids are off limits. Now, West, who's 47, questions 7-year-old twins Rumi and Sir's mental capacity before deleting the unprovoked post, only to reshare it in the early hours of Wednesday morning. However, the Grammy winner, who gives a fuck what he goes by? His name will always be Koonye in my eyes. Clarified that he has not wiped the hateful upload in order to be a good person. Instead, he wrote, I need everyone to know that I took the post about Jay and Beyonce's family down because there was a possibility of my Twitter being canceled. Well, maybe they do need to cancel it. And maybe you'll probably have a better chance of going over to Truth Social. I mean, I don't know many people who's on there except the maggots. But other than that, since you want to be Donald Trump so bad, since you want to be a damn Nazi so bad, why don't you take your ass over there to that website? But then again, you're safe because you got a fellow Nazi, Apartheid Clyde, aka Elon Musk, who is running it. Now they say Kardashian's discontent comes on the heels of her latest feud with West, which stemmed from a song seemingly featuring the eldest daughter Northwest, Sean Diddy Combs, and Combs' son Christian King Combs. Kanye shared the track, which is titled Lonely Roads Still Go to Sunshine, on Twitter on Saturday, but Kardashian tried to get the judge to stop it from being released. In a since-deleted tweet, Koonye shared a screenshot of an alleged text message exchange with Kardashian. He seemed outraged about Kardashian trademarking their daughter's name as he told his ex-wife, I'm never speaking with you again. Well, I'm not excusing the behavior. However, the reason why Kim trademarked her child's name is because when you are a child who is a Nepo baby, I would say, and you have a famous rapper for a father and a reality TV star businesswoman for a mother, she's trademarking the daughter's name in case she decides to jump into any entertainment outlets, which clearly she is because y'all trying to force her music down her damn throat and trying to have her appear on certain songs with you or trying to put out her own music and then performing in The Lion King, which that was a hot ass mess. So she's trademarking it so that way any kind of intellectual property that comes to your door from her daughter, she could profit from it. I'm sure if you went over and looked into the archives of the Bay and J, I guarantee you Blue Ivy has been trademarked. Because actually it is. Because I remember there was a point where Beyonce was trying to trademark Blue Ivy's name, but I think there was a company that had the same name. And there was a whole back and forth with that. So when you are a public figure, whether you want to be or not, and they're only in it because they can't help who they were born, who their parents are. So she trademarked it to protect her child. And so that way, if her daughter decides to do anything, that they're able to profit off of it and no one else. That somebody's not going to buy Northwest's name or trademark her name and are able to profit off of her name. So it makes sense for that. But I guess because he's so damn dumb and tries to act like he's a genius and a businessman, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking. So what do you get mad at her for? If anybody knows about branding and business, it's her. Because that's the world that Kim comes from. She took the whole reality thing and parlayed it into an empire and a business. So it makes sense for her to do that. So they said that according to the source, the reality star had been texting Kanye up to this point, but Kim thinks it's best for now to only communicate through mediators. And I think that's a smart thing to do. You cannot compromise. They say you're not supposed to compromise with terrorists. You should not also be compromising with a madman. And that's what he is. If he's not someone that you could actually get through and speak to, then you need to have a mediator. You need to have an attorney or, someone of that nature to step in and be the middleman. And then they also said that, and then he went on this whole rant or whatever, basically calling Kim a sex trafficker and said, and accused the family of trafficking Black children, including their own. Now, here's the cackle, because this is the funny part. How you got the unlitigated gall to sit up out here and talk about, oh, she a sex trafficker, she trafficking your kids, but you decide to stick your dick in her and give her 4 babies? Make it make sense. And this is the part that I can't with you ninjas. Y'all will sit up in here and run behind these racially ambiguous white women, Armenian, mixed, whatever you call it. You'll get with any other woman but a Black woman. And this is somebody coming from mixed race. And my father is not like that. So he's excluded. And not all men are like this. But I'm talking about these types, the Koonye types, the tap dancers for the white approval. Y'all sit up here get with these white women, these racially ambiguous women, have a bunch of kids with them. And then when shit don't go your way, then you want to play the victim and all of a sudden run back to the Black community and say, I'm victimized. And I feel like he started doing all of this around the time of George Bush don't care about Black people. The minute he started trying to act like he was the Sojourner Truth of hip hop, the Frederick Douglass of hip hop, then the Harriet Tubman, well, no, she's the Harriet. I call her the Harriet Tubman of prison reform. So I can't get at to him. But once he started trying to do all of that God with Black power shit, then all of a sudden, Black folks easily just fell for it. And was like, oh yeah, so yeah, you're right. George Bush don't care about Black people, but Kanye care about us. But he's been shown post that he has thrown the community under the bus. And I want to give a shout out to Make It Make Sense, because he put out a video earlier exposing Kanye. Now there's some stuff out here, and I was like, you know what? I feel like I should put that, link that into the show in the bottom of the description, so that way y'all can go to that. But if y'all get a chance, definitely check out his latest video. So he did a video where he was basically exposing Kanye and saying that you want to know something. The reason why, and I'm gonna get into it, because there was apparently Kim Kardashian, when she had heard that Northwest was that Andrew and Tristan Tate was going to be coming over to Kanye's house, she basically pulled her daughter about the situation. So I got that story. So we'll get into that. And then I'm going to get into the Make It Make Sense stuff, because I want to kind of just rope it all in. So it says, the co-parenting relationship between Kanye and Kim has reached new levels of public discord, as West recently made explosive accusations against Kim, I should say, regarding their daughter North. On Wednesday, West took to Twitter to allege that Kardashian was sex trafficking their children, a claim tied to the North's participation in a TikTok video and her involvement in a song by FKA Twigs. So her doing a rap song with you is okay, but her performing with FKA Twigs, who's a dancer and electronic music performer, is sex trafficking? But then they called his ass a hypocrite, because there was an emergency hearing that happened last week, and shout out to TMZ for this team, where Kardashian reportedly halted North's visit with her father after she found out that Andrew and Tristan Tate were expected to arrive at his residence. So Kanye's out here hanging out with Trump. He's hanging out with Andrew and Tristan Tate. So you out here calling your ex-wife a sex trafficker, but you out here hanging out with 2 men who were accused and detained in Romania for sex trafficking, but were allowed to come to the U.S. because of Donald Trump. Make damn sense. Now, speaking of making it make sense, Make It Make Sense did a video earlier where he basically exposed some tea regarding that. The reason why I think he's been hobnobbing with Diddy and defending him and going against Cassie and saying all these disgusting, disparaging things. One, I think, is that he's bored. This is my opinion. I think he's bored. I think his music isn't what it used to be. He's at an age where he's starting to age out of hip-hop. And y'all already know when it comes to hip-hop is a young man's game. Yeah, you'll see some of the older rappers that's still out here doing it. Snoop Dogg still releases music. Nas still releases music. Eminem is still releasing music. Sidebar, I heard the tea about somebody that worked for Eminem that was recently indicted on stealing and selling Eminem's music, unreleased music, on the internet. There was a story that came out with that today. I think it was on Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, one of the major trades. But So yeah, a lot of the older rappers are out here making moves still in hip hop. And when you look at Koonye, what else does he have? What does he have to say musically that is going to move the needle forward that reflects the state of the world today? He's doing things seeking attention. He's going on these rants, going after everybody, disrespecting people's children. When it's like, if somebody said that about your kids, you wouldn't like it. But you out here being a bully and a pussy asshole, and I know your album is called Bully, but you literally being the very thing that your album title is. And it's like, how you a grown man pushing 50, picking on a bunch of defenseless little kids that don't even know who the fuck you are, but you got a whole lot to say about it. And I kind of and I was like, look, I hope he rolling deep with security because somebody gonna take his ass out. And if they do, I don't feel no ways tired about it because you had it coming. But Make It Make Sense said something where it was like there was some apparently there was some SA allegations that came out against Koonye back around the time when he was hunching Amber Rose. Remember them days when he went in on Miss Tay Tay and interrupted him on stage and people excused it because he was drunk and all this other stuff. And he was always doing these little things where he, I guess because he got the attention from the George Bush don't care about black people, now he was out doing the outbursts and doing these stunts and all these other things, and it was garnering him attention. But apparently there was a couple of lawsuits that was going to come out about him at the height of his career, where he was accused of, I don't know if it was if he actually assaulted him, but there was sexual harassment stuff, which we've even heard later on down the road that there was stories about harassment from women, especially when it came to Donda Academy and all that other stuff. But they was somebody, this was going on around the time when he was with Amber, and we all know that around that time, this was at the height of his career. But because he was making the industry a lot of money and there was a lot of stakes on him and his career and everything, and his career was booming, they didn't want to risk the money. Hence why they made those lawsuits go away. So if he's not too careful, all this stuff is going to start coming out. The same way how Diddy got too big for his britches and thought his shit didn't stink and thought, oh, I had all this money. Oh, you white people couldn't take me out. Oh, you better watch it, Koonye, because your ass might be next. And there's always going to be some people out there that when you start going against people, certain groups of people that know where all the bodies is buried, and they start digging up those bodies and exposing you, then you end up the next one. And then, of course, you won't get them other idiots that just, oh, if you say God and you do a good deed or whatever, they overlook every damn thing. You know, the ones that be in the cult, the black folks that's still in the cult that just go whatever Koonye says. That's how it feels like it's going to be with him, is that he's a mess. So, yeah, so that was the thing with her. But then again, here's the thing. While I totally get like Kim is trying to be Mama Bear and she's thinking about the well-being of her daughter and those other stuff, girl, you ain't no saint either. Because how you out here all of a sudden, oh, I gotta keep my daughter away from him because he's hanging out with the Tates. But you out here doing photo shoots on top of Teslas. So make that make sense. Like you out here twerking on a damn Tesla or promoting Elon Musk's stupid ass stuff, which is basically a ripoff of other people's things. Like a Tesla literally like a vehicle straight out of Blade Runner. And then you have these little robots that he's running around with, literally the design stolen out of iRobot. So he's out here just stealing other people's ideas and trying to pass it off as his own. Typical colonizer shit. So you ain't no angel either, sis. So we're not fully giving you a pass. But I understand why you got to do what you got to do. And I hope she does get full custody. And she's got enough evidence where she can make sure he never sees his kids again. The only way you're going to be able to see your kids is on TMZ or any other gossip situation where you can only see pictures of your child. Because I'm keeping them away from you now. When they get to be of a certain age, then they can go and want to be around you and visit and all the other stuff. But for now, no, you don't need to be in their life. She said he barely in their damn life to be, and as it is. So, that's all I got to say on that. So I want to hear from y'all. What do you think of this story in regards to Koonye and Kim basically putting her foot down and all this other stuff regarding how he is and the sex trafficking allegations and all this other foolishness he's saying. And they basically calling him a hypocrite, saying like, how you calling me out saying I'm a sex trafficker when you hanging out with sex traffickers? Damn, I should have had the picture where I could have showed y'all of him literally hobnobbing it with the tapes. But whatever, y'all got the gist. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Snow Bunny Igloo. Kim pimping her daughter just like her mother pimped her. Okay, and I said that too. I was like, they all ain't innocent. Them kids is fuck regardless. hmm And what's going to happen is they're going to get mad. They're going to go around and say, go after that judge for blocking, which is why they went after another judge recently for blocking something on Trump. And that's what's going to happen. And of course, these people are going to go in lockstep and listen. But yeah, they need to be blocked from things. We need judges to actually stand and be like, no, you cannot be out here just gutting whatever you want to gut, because they look at Social Security, they look at all these things, Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, all the things that actually are in place to help people, AIDS research, cancer research, all these things, they look at that as a hindrance. That's what they look at that as. So they want you to pull yourself up by your bootstrap, but there's no boot to pull yourself up from. Make that make sense. Mariah Carey wins copyright lawsuit. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, Darlene Love was at my job the other day where she sang the national anthem. Sounded good as usual. Shout out to her. And and you know, funny enough, I was like, leave it to me to not work a Knicks game where Tracy Morgan vomits and has the game postpone, not postpone, but they had to stall it until they can get him off, and they had to clean up the vomit. So that's the worst part. If you work on the floor, the floor is chaotic, and I tell people that all the time. When you work on the floor, I was like, the floor is not bad. It's just a lot going on, so it's stressful. Because it's like it's a lot of drunk people you got to deal with. You got to deal with security situations. You got to make sure. And I've heard, and I love how some guests come up to me and be like, yeah, "I love the way y'all run things here." She's like, "It's like a well-oiled machine." I said, "What, compared to other places?" She was like, "Yeah." Like, we do not play about our shit at Madison Square Garden. So shout out. It's like we are a well-oiled machine. Like if something happened, they come quick. So when I heard about that, I'm like, damn, he went and he got sick, and I saw the pictures and stuff the next day. So when I go to work tomorrow, I'm gonna definitely be like fishing for information from some of my coworkers. I'm like, was y'all here when Tracy Morgan vomited on the court? What happened? Brittany and Wendy locked up. That's what I was saying. Like, and I'm that. Well, you know, I'll probably bring that for the next thing, that because that don't make no sense to me. Everybody else, y'all put them in a conservatorship. This man is literally giving conservatorship teas. He need to be locked up. After that video, Flanders admitting that he has two phones, one for the cops to get nothing, and one he has with the actual evidence. Anyway, so where we going? Oh, let's get into this one. So Tina Knowles, because we talked about it. Well, we didn't talk about it, we're talking about it now. We talked about yesterday. So Kanye West, Koonye West. I keep forgetting the shady names that I come up with. I got to keep up with it. So yeah, Koonye West went on his Twitter rant to promote an album nobody cares about or even cares to listen to. And what? Damn, I almost forgot my train of thought. Okay, let's start over. So Kanye West went and released a new album called Bully. Nobody cares about the record. Nobody listens to it. So what does he do? He's got to go on social media and he's got to start throwing shade. He's got to go in on people. He just starts randomly throwing out stupid little rants. He goes in on his wife. He goes in on Playboy Cardi. He goes in on Iggy Azalea. He goes in on the twins of Jay-Z and Beyonce. He just go and even called Drake a homophobic slur. Like he was just going in on everybody who we can just think of, I guess, at the moment. I don't even think he got sleep. He literally was up all night just saying a bunch of dumb stuff on social media because he's clearly bored. Clearly, he ain't getting enough baloney washes from Bianca. She ain't doing what needs to be done. So of course, we don't hear from Jay or Bay in regards of what anybody says about them. She's been radio silent probably because she's busy concentrating on this Cowboy Carter tour, and Jay is out here making business moves while Kanye's sitting on his phone being all manic and just mad that nobody cares about him anymore or his music. So enter Tina Knowles, who decides to jump on the line and clap back, sort of, at Koonye West. So Tina appeared to slam evil Koonye after the embattled rapper's latest tantrum roped in the twins Beyonce shares with Jay-Z, saying, quote, "It's hard to remain positive and classy in the face of ignorance and evil, but I know that no weapon formed against me or my family shall prosper." This is what she said. Here we go. We always got to go up on here with some damn church quote or Bible quote. And this is what she said on Wednesday alongside a video of herself telling a corny joke, saying, "This battle is not mine, but the Lord's. I know that God has got this." Now, I'm sorry, I love y'all, but this ain't a we gonna pray type of situation. I'm sorry. I'm like, fuck all that. I'm cussing your ass out. But then again, that's something he wants. He wants attention. He wants you to respond. He wants people to kind of come at him in a way. So maybe the best thing to do is to pretend he doesn't exist. That makes them pissed off even more. You learn that as you get older. So the old me, is still me at times, it's like sometimes people deserve a beat down or a clap back. And then there are those that's like, you know what, you can't let them idiots get to you, because the minute that they say something and they know that that is your Achilles heel, because we say that about Cardi B all the time, right? Sidebar, he said something about her too. I'm surprised I ain't hear her come back with a comment. And Cardi B always got something to say. So, normally I would have been like, yeah, cuss his ass out. Beyonce need to come out and say something, but it's like, no, I'm gonna just let the Beehive swarm him. And I don't know, I haven't been on Twitter like that, but if the Beehive has swarmed him and is still swarming him, let me know in the comments. So, yeah, of course, y'all know he deleted the post and then posted it again the next day, and then said that he didn't scrub it because he was a good person. But I do have her tweet. Hold on. So, I mean, that's not a tweet. I think that's on Instagram, because I don't even think Tina is on Twitter. So then he goes and types in caps, of course, because it doesn't know how to type anything else. "I love Jay-Z and I do feel bad. I always felt like the black sheep, like I wanted family in this music-ish." But that's how you react. And if you love somebody, that's not something you say to them. And if you got a beef with Jay, have your beef with Jay. Speak about your grievances on how he made you feel in the industry, how you felt that he made you feel abandoned. That when I needed him in my most darkest of times, he wasn't there. Maybe you should have said all that instead of you going in and picking on little kids. I don't understand you going in on somebody's child. How does that work to your cause? It doesn't make sense. It's just you just out here saying all kinds of stuff, and now you're trying to excuse it. So the rapper added that he felt slighted when Jay-Z, was 55 and Beyonce, 43, didn't attend his wedding to Kim Kardashian in 2014. West also complained about the Rock Nation mogul choosing Kendrick to headline the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show. He also called out the '03 Bonnie and Clyde hitmakers, saying they could have used their cultural position to help him have more leverage against his now ex-wife in regard to their 4 kids, North, Saint, Chicago, and Song. First of all, whatever you got going on with Kim, that's between y'all. I'm not getting involved. I'm not getting caught up in your situation. We're using about leverage. And what kind of leverage are they going to give you against Kim? And this is why I truly believe that Jay and Bay wanted to keep their distance from y'all from the beginning. Hence why they didn't go to your wedding. And I'm sure that when there've been moments where Beyonce didn't have a choice, she's had to encounter Kim, and being that, when we see people we don't particularly care for, my mama taught me to be respectful. So even if I don't care for your ass, how you doing? Nice to see you, all that other stuff. I'm not gonna let you know that I don't like your ass unless you piss me off. But in any other case, I'm always respectful of people in a room, even if I don't like you, because that's the way I was taught. I was taught to give respect regardless, until, like I said, you come out of pocket. Then all the gloves come off and I'm going to cuss your ass out. So Beyonce was probably being the diplomatic one and was just being nice, whatever. But it's like, no, it's like, okay, I see you. But that don't mean we Kiki sisters. That don't mean that we all gonna have Thanksgiving and Christmas together. That don't mean if I have like a big bash in my house during 4th of July that all of y'all, the whole, the West Kardashian family is coming over with all the kids and the other family members, so that way y'all can film it for your reality show on Hulu. Now, ain't nobody said all that. Now, if I see you at an event, hey, how you doing, and keep it moving. So I don't understand where he's in this whole situation where he's saying Well, you didn't give me leverage. And what do you care about him choosing who he chooses for the Super Bowl? Did nobody ask your ass to do it? And I don't think you'll ever get to do it. So he went and said, Ish hurt so F both of them because when I needed them, it was F me. Well, did they know that you needed them or did you expect certain things? And I'm not excusing the behavior. I'm trying to analyze the sides of you saying all of this, but did they at any point did you reach out to Jay-Z and tell him how you was feeling? And Jay-Z is running a business. Jay-Z got his own kids. He got 3 of his own. Well, quiet as it's kept. Some people say he got more than 3 with people outside of Beyonce in a relationship. But we're gonna focus on the Carter Knowles for now. Because these are the ones we know of. We're not gonna go by the rumors. Because I don't want Jay to come out here and sue me. So we're gonna stick to the rivers of the lakes that we are aware of. And that is Jay got his own stuff to worry about. Beyonce's out here got her own things to worry about. She's working on her career. She's out here being a mother. She got a tour that's supposed to be starting in a couple of weeks. Jay is out here running, his businesses and trying to figure out who's going to be doing the Super Bowl for 2026. So he's got a whole lot of stuff that's on his plate right now. He ain't got time to entertain your shenanigans or try to make sure that you taking your damn meds on time. That's the thing you should be doing. And the bitch you married to. And whatever issues you got going on with Kim, you need to work that out as a grown-ass man. You pushing 50. You should know better. Why are you looking to her or other people on the outside to give you whatever leverage you talking about? So make that make sense, because it don't. And then they said the pair had a falling out in 2016 after West publicly criticized Jay-Z for not checking on his family after Kardashian was robbed at gunpoint. Why is all of this stuff Jay's problem, though? And to me, I kind of wonder if y'all supposed to be as close as you claim, because I never really saw like there was a closest. I know y'all probably were under the same umbrella because of the music and things. You were a producer before you became a rapper. But where did you think that Jay was like, you and Jay had this close relationship? And did Jay-Z, what's the word? Because you know how like sometimes some people feel like they put more energy and effort into the relationship than the other person, and then they realize that, yeah, we was cool, but we wasn't cool like that. We're not besties. We're work friends. We hang out, we do stuff, but I'm not like your big bro. When did we have that conversation that that's what our friendship was? And some people, I guess, they make assumptions, they think certain things about certain things, and they just go along with it. So I was like, yeah, he didn't check in on Kim, probably because, like I said yesterday, they probably thought the shit was staged. And there was a lot of people that was running around saying, this some insurance fraud type mess. They probably staged all of this. Knowing especially what the Kardashians represent. Stunting shows and buffoonery from being in that world of reality TV. So you know them upper elites, they look down, especially when you come from a place of, we actually are talented people. I'm a talented rapper. Beyonce's a talented performer and singer. So, and Kim is Kim. So when you come from a place of where Kim Kardashian came from, hey Ray J, and down to the reality show and how Pimp Mama Chris turned that lemons into lemonade, no pun intended, to Beyonce's Lemonade album, but how they turn lemons into lemonade, then I'm a side eye, because I be in the same boat. I be looking like, why am I gonna call you? I don't even think the shit actually happened. I think it's a stunt. And we know Koonye loves attention, like his wife. They love, he's a stunt queen too. And all these little antics that he have out here doing, his little outbursts. You know, he like Elon or Felon, aka Felon Musk, aka Apartheid Clyde. He's the same way. They love blaming a lot of their antics on, oh yeah, he said I'm bipolar 1 minute, I got autism. I don't know nobody who autistic that be doing all this stuff. We're not gonna blame it on autism. You just an asshole. Just say that. Or maybe you are what you called Beyonce and Jay-Z kids. Retarded. I think you more or less retarded than they are. So, like I always say, that one time when them people be pointing their finger at other people about things, the four others is pointing back at themselves. So it would have been nice to see Tina really go in and be like, you know what, I'm going to compromise my Christianity and cuss his behind out. She was like, you know what, I'm going to just say what I said and keep it pushing. Because, Tina, she the spokesperson for the Knowles family. Because every time somebody come out here and say something about Miss Beyonce, you already know who be on speed dial. Tina be on social media with some shit. And this time she ain't claimed that she was hacked. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards to what Tina Knowles had to say and what Kanye had to say? It's like, look, it's getting late, it's getting old, it's getting tired. How you running around here trying to always blame it on you're autistic, you have it, it's a manic episode. Oh, his mother died, and ever since his mother passed away, then he ain't been right. And I saw something that really made me think. Somebody posted on social media, why is it always up to black women to always have to uphold black men whenever they on their bullshit? I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what it was said. It's like, y'all always want to sit up here and say, oh, because, so basically the whole time, Donda was the one that was keeping him together and preventing him from losing his shit. So why we always got to put it on the shoulders of a black woman to be able to help him with his foolishness? He says what he says because he's a narcissistic prick. So let's just look at him in that way and stop giving him excuses. The excuse is long gone. The minute he went from George Bush don't care about black people to literally being out here saying slavery was a choice. Y'all should have dropped his ass like a hot potato then. But if you want to continue to support the foolishness, that's on you. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, you said that is a manic episode. Our sister is embodiment of bipolar realness. Yeah, he definitely is. Billionaire Christian. Fuck out of here with that oxymoron. Why anybody is taking the rantings of a crazy man personally? Well, if you come out your mouth and say something about my kids, oh, it's fighting words. I feel like that. I don't even understand the point of why he's doing all this. I mean, is it really? Are you that desperate for attention that this is what you got to do for attention? Because yeah, it's like that music. I don't know what the album sounds like. I don't plan on hearing it. I don't care to hear it. I've just been over Kanye for a long time. Epsteinian falling out, probably. And so here's an incel. All right, let's get to our next topic because it looks like UMG, child. What is going on over there? Now I'm starting to look at y'all sideways. It was like, look, the whole Drake thing. I was cackling because I was like, this lawsuit is stupid. But now looking back on, I'm like, you know what? Maybe Drake does have a point. But then again, I'm still looking at Drake sideways because I feel like Drake, you benefited from the same things that you're accusing Universal Music of. Then we had yesterday that Iggy Azalea was talking about that she is owed money from Universal Music Group. And now the latest story is Limp Bizkit. Remember them from the 90s? Keep rolling, 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 rolling. Yes, I was a Limp Bizkit fan. I bought all 8 albums. I bought Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavored water. I have all their I was a big rap rock fan back in the day. I was radicalized by MTV. So yes, I was not only listening to hip hop and Britney and Christina and Beyonce and Destiny's Child and Justin Timberlake and NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys and all other stuff. Yes, and also I was listening to Korn. I was listening to Limp Bizkit. I was listening to Stained. I was listening to Disturbed, which I am working their show tomorrow. So I was listening to all of that music back in the day. And so, yeah, I was a big metal, rock, rap rock fan. And Limp Bizkit was kind of like the corniest out of all of them, but they were relatively popular at the time. So when you look back on their music, it was like, I can't believe I was liking this shit. But look, it was what it was back then, and the times was the times. So they were big in their day. And now they're talking about that Universal Music Group, they are taking their ass to court because they said, look, we wasn't doing it all for the nookie. We was doing it for the money as well. And so they said that their label deliberately withheld as much as $200 million in royalties. So, according to their claim, which shout out to Variety for this story, the claims against the music company range from breach of contract to fraudulent concealment, fraudulent business practices, copyright infringement, and more. Now, in a decision filed March 17th and reviewed by Variety, Judge Percy Anderson ruled that Limp Bizkit frontman Fred Durst will have to refile a majority of his claims in state courts, California or New York. The judge also denied UMG's motion to dismiss the band's allegations of copyright infringement, allowing these claims to proceed in his federal court. Now, Limp Bizkit is allowed to move forward with their lawsuit against Universal Music Group that alleges the label deliberately withheld as much as $200 million in royalties. The claims against the music company range from breach of contract to fraudulent concealment. I was going to say, did I, oh no, why do I feel like they're it was being repeated? Because it kind of is. Okay, so now they said the issue of recession will require an analysis of state law in both New York and California courts involving facts and law that are distinct from those necessary to adjudicate the copyright claim, according to the March 17th document. Despite these complexities, UMG is being asked to file its answer to the copyright claims no later than April 7th. And do you think they're going to come out with the same kind of shade that they came out with against Drake with their lawsuit? So then it said that Limp Bizkit originally claimed UMG designed and implemented royalty software and systems that were deliberately designed to conceal artist royalties and keep those profits for itself. UMG filed its motion to dismiss the lawsuit in November, claiming that the lawsuit and specifically the alleged concealment of royalties was fiction. Limp Bizkit which hit the peak of its popularity in the late 90s and early 2000s, claimed that it's not the only group to be stiffed bond royalties and that possibly hundreds of other artists have also suffered from this model. Durst claimed that Flip Records, which initially signed the band in 1996 prior to the Interscope deal in December 2000, disclosed to him that they were receiving millions of dollars due to recent renewed interest in the band, millions of streaming users per month on Spotify alone, his lawyers wrote. Durst's attorneys also say the label did end up giving the band $1.3 million and $2.3 million went to Durst's own Flawless Records. So they actually believe that they're owed more. And now they're up in here talking about that there's hundreds of other artists who have been suffering from this. And look, I'm inclined to believe it because I'm sitting there like Iggy Azalea and Fred Durst along with Limp Bizkit, the band. I wonder if that's Wes Borland next to him. Because remember, like back in the day, Wes Borland always used to do like crazy makeup and stuff on him. I wonder if he's still with the band. I have not been listening. Look, it's been almost maybe a decade plus since I popped on some damn Limp Bizkit. So I don't know who's in the band, if the band has kind of been shuffled around and stuff, if they have the same bandmates or if they brought new people in. But if Iggy Azalea is coming out saying stuff, if Drake has been saying stuff for months, even though people can't get past the whole suing because of the diss track, I know it's like we're so caught up in that we're not looking at the other stuff. Because I'll admit I'm in there too. Like I just feel like this is a waste of time with that. But if he's shining a light on things where it's got people like Iggy Azalea and now Limp Bizkit coming out and saying that we've been stiffed out of millions of dollars and they're going for 200 million. Like I don't understand that. If these labels, if you sign somebody to a contract and they're out here giving you good music, their albums are doing multi-platinum numbers, they're touring, the tours are selling out, they're accumulating millions upon millions of dollars worldwide, not just, in the United States, but worldwide. And I'm just saying this in general. If they're doing all the things, and if they're actually doing better than what their contract resides, why not give them their money? Why are y'all always trying to make sure that y'all make, at the end of the day, if these artists who are on your label are successful, you want to keep you stealing money from them. You want to maintain that they remain broke. Like, I don't understand the criminality, the white collar criminality behind why y'all be doing this with these artists. And the dream for all these artists, all they want to do is get out of whatever circumstance they are, be able to make a living off of what they love, and take care of not only themselves, but their families. You always hear stories about how, like, there's this kid from, it could be the trailer park, it could be the projects, it could even be from the suburbs, where it's like, I want to get out of my situation. I want to be able to provide for my family. I want to be able to get my mother a nice big house or whatever the case is. And it's like these people will sell you on a dream. Meanwhile, they robbing you blind. And if Universal Music is doing this, ain't no good gonna come to y'all until you do right by Fred Durst and all the other artists that he's alleging that y'all are out here robbing or have robbed or continue to rob. Because I'm sure it's people way from the past as well as the present that are being stiff for their coins. So y'all better start checking out them. You better start reading y'all contracts and start looking and making sure all y'all money is what it is. Because UMG, if this is true, you in danger, girl. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story in regards to this Limp Bizkit lawsuit against Universal Music? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. All right. Okay, let's see what people are saying in the comments. That I read, he's freaking out over his kids having developmental disabilities. So allegedly Kanye's kids might be developmentally delayed, and so he wants to put that on Beyonce's kids. And I think he's saying that, he's talking about the twins because he's trying to say like, oh, well, you don't see them in the spotlight. Here's the thing: not every celebrity kids want to be in the spotlight. Now, when it comes to Jennifer Lopez, you'll see Emmy out in the streets, but you barely see Max. But then again, I did hear stories that Max might be autistic, which is probably why you don't see him. And it was like there was a clip or something the way he was behaving, and Emmy was trying to pull his hands down, and it was kind of like a sign that he might be. But if they are, that's their business. And just because you don't want to see, because Blue Ivy likes being in the spotlight, and then we've seen Rumi recently and Blue Ivy with their father at the Super Bowl, and they took a picture. And just because you don't, and Sir might be a little shy and doesn't want, and probably is a mama's boy because that's their only boy, their only son. If he doesn't want to be on camera, then that's his choice. Not everybody wants to be in the damn spotlight. I'm sure I've told you this before, but Fred Durst graduated from a school. Yeah, I think you did tell me that. I've always resonated with him, even if I don't like any of his music. That's like 2000. You said Wes is still in the band. He went on tour with okay. I was like, is Wes Borland still in the band? And I always liked him because he was always the weird one, the one that would come out with like makeup and all the other stuff on. Like he was always the one that kind of stood out. While Fred was out here trying to be like Mr. Frat Boy rap rocker. Child, let's get into this mess. Let's talk about Miss Gal Gadot. Oh my God, I just realized something. That is not the one we're supposed to talk about. I was supposed to make another headline, and I think I forgot to add it to the docket. That was my bad. Hold on. It's supposed to be this story. We're supposed to go to Miss Ellen Pompeo. I forgot to make the banner for it because I was like rushing to put the show together. So anyway, we got it together. Let's get into it. So apparently Ellen Pompeo recently did an interview on the Call Me Daddy podcast, and she's being dragged over a comment that she made about Patrick Dempsey, where she was basically saying that she was feeling a little salty that, when he came on board, he was making more money than her. But I guess what you need to realize was when Grey's Anatomy came around, the reason why I believe Patrick Dempsey was getting the more money than her was because we knew who Patrick Dempsey was. We didn't know who Ellen Pompeo was. Patrick Dempsey came in as a name because he was well known in the 80s and 90s being an actor. So while appearing on the podcast, Pompeo acknowledges that when the drama series started, Dempsey was more well-known than her, but her character's name was on the show. Saying, quote, to be completely fair, the television game was so different then. He had done 13 pilots before me. Nothing personal to him, just in general, only a man can have 13 failed TV pilots and their quote keeps going up, right? But in all fairness, his quote was what it was. She continued, he was a bigger star than I was at this point. No one knew who I was. Everybody knew who he was. So he did deserve that money. I'm not saying he didn't deserve the money. It's just being that I was the namesake of the show, I deserved the same, and that was harder to get. Now, in 2018, Pompeo became the highest paid actress in the drama series, making $20 million a season. I remember hearing that too. Saying I wasn't salty about him getting what he got. I was salty that they didn't value me as much as they valued him, and they never will. Pompeo noted that her fight for pay parity came when she reached a certain point in her career where she felt this battle was for herself and all the other women coming up behind her, saying, I see exactly how much Grey's Anatomy makes for ABC Disney. I get to see the number. It's my face. It's my voice. I've done so much work promoting the show all over the world for the past 20 years. I am the Disney princess of that franchise. Now that's funny. But of course, people jumped online and of course they got mad at what she said. So I'm gonna read some of their comments and then we'll get into my comments. I mean, my overall thoughts. Now, one person by the name of Homo Conbro said she was and still is a B-list actor who happened upon a show that became a big hit for childless women in their 30s. Who wrote this? JD Vance? No one watched the show for her. They watched it for the fan service shirtless scenes with the male actors. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I mean, that was part of that. That might be true, whatever, but I don't think that's the only reason. Because I watched Grey's Anatomy. I'm trying to remember when I stopped watching. I think it was around the time with the whole controversy with Isaiah. No, was it Isaiah Watson? Is that who that was on there? That made them homophobic comments against TR Knight, and then they killed off TR Knight. That's when I stopped watching. But because I was like, okay, this is going on. Like, this is like Law and Order. Like, why is this show on for 25, 26 years? Like, Grey's Anatomy don't need to be still on the air, quiet as it's kept. But I understand the Law and Order and the Law and Order SVU because it's serialized. It's always going to take on cases. But this show is like, why are you no, there needs to be a term limit on certain shows. And Grey's Anatomy definitely needs term limits. Sidebar, speaking of Shonda Rhimes, did y'all hear that Ray J. Jean Page is coming back to Bridgerton? I heard that, I think yesterday. But anyway, another person said, God make it end. Another person said, another martyr. Another person said, wow, she really turned bitter. Such a shame. I love the show Once Upon a Time. Someone should tell her that show died as soon as she pulled Derek's plug. Well, here's the thing. I used to like Once Upon a Time too, but I don't think that's the Once Upon a Time they talking about. Another person says she was no one before the show, and the show made her rich and famous. The other actors that left wanted to challenge, but she went for financial security, so she hit the jackpot. So to try now and diss Patrick was really not needed. Then another person says she just a hater. Patrick Dempsey has been around since the 80s. He's lovable. Exactly. That's why I said, like, Patrick Dempsey has been around for a long time. Another person said, and why she may be the title character, he was the reason people watched. Excuse me, the show. I've never seen one episode, but I know who McDreamy is. I didn't even know her character was named Gray. Her name was Meredith Gray. And then it went on to say 13 failed TV pilots. He was the biggest star, much bigger, but I deserve equal money. What's next? Extras demanding the same money as the stars of TV and film? Well, look, once upon a time, I was an extra when I was working on movie sets. So I totally understand like that. Nobody's saying, well, maybe you're saying all of that. We just wanted, like, especially if you was a SAG member, because there was SAG and non-SAG. But if it was SAG, it was like, yeah, we do deserve the same equal rights that's going on, but as far as the same amount of money, no, we wasn't answering for that. And another person said, now we know why Derek died. Yes, it's a joke. On the other hand, the show is called Jerry's Anatomy, not Derek's. Well, I think they meant Grey's Anatomy, not Derek's. Another person said, and he's still a celebrity and she's still a nobody. Well, a nobody with job security or just a lot of wealth, because at this point, she's got enough money. She doesn't need to make another project. I think she is working on other things because she did leave the show at one point, or I don't remember when, but I know she left the show. But here's the thing. I feel like, okay, now while those tweets were a cackle and a bit shady, but I totally understand where everybody's coming from. I think she kind of like alluded to that. I was like, yeah, nobody really knew who I was, but so I understand why Patrick Dempsey got what he got. And also she was mentioning that, I think what she was alluding to, but I don't know if she went there because I didn't watch the interview, the fact that men will always be valued over women. It don't even matter if he was somebody who was been an actor since the 80s. They're automatically going to back the Brinks truck up for someone who is well known versus someone who you're making a show called Grey's Anatomy. My character's name is Meredith Grey. I'm supposed to be number one on the call sheet, but you're giving more money to somebody who has had, yes, a significantly longer career, but because he's well known in certain circles and nobody knows who I am, you feel that he is owed more money than I am. So that's what I think where her overall complaint is on. And she was saying no shade to him, even though it did come across as shady. But totally understand where she was coming from with that. And it was like, I had to literally fight to be able to get the money that I got. And she had to prove herself over the years with the ratings of Grey's Anatomy. Now, when you go in and you prove yourself, and those ratings are 20 million plus people a week watching for like 7, 8, 9 seasons, then you can go in and be like, okay, we're in season 5, it's about to come up. My contract needs to be negotiated. So therefore, and the ratings are good. They're clearly tuning in for whatever storyline I got going on and everybody else. So now I want 20 million a picture. Now you have the leverage to go in and negotiate. But yeah, when you're a nobody, you can't run up in a room and expect somebody to give you just $20 million out the gate. They're going to give it, of course, to a Patrick Dempsey, because my generation, who grew up watching movies in like the 80s and 90s and the 2000s and stuff, we know who Patrick Dempsey is. It's kind of always been, and this is also like the overall rumor that was going on. Let's flip it over to Patrick Dempsey. There was a rumor that was going around that the reason why he didn't appear in Scream 7, they were saying, yeah, because it was the wildfires and stuff in LA and he couldn't get away from his family because a lot of stuff was going on. But the rumor is because of a pay disparity. He wanted the same amount of money as a Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox and stuff. And it's like, sir, so this is where the other side comes in. You are not the star of the Scream franchise, so we're going to give the money to Nev Campbell. We're not giving $20 million to Patrick Dempsey to be in a Scream movie. When everybody knows, unless it's a queer slasher movie, the only way that they know that women are always at the forefront, the final girls, that sort of thing, in slasher movies. So women pretty much rule that department and will always get more of a bigger pay because of that. So I totally got what Ellen was saying, but them tweets was kind of a cackle though. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story in regards to what Ellen Pompeo had to recently say on the Call Me Daddy podcast about her pay disparity at the time of when she first started out on Grey's Anatomy? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. So let me take that out. Oh, let's see what the people are saying in the comments. I do remember Orgy. I bought both their albums. And I bought I got into Orgy because they did the remix. I mean, not remix, the remake of oh my God, well, who sings that song? How does it feel to treat me like you do? That song. When they did that remake, the remake of that, that's what like drew me in. And I told you I was like into that whole industrial music type of vibe. So that's why I got into them. Another thing they did, what was the second album called? Vapor Transmission or Transition or something or another? Can't remember the name of it. But yeah, I used to like the album. I mean, I like it. And I always thought I had a crush on Jay Gordon too, the lead singer. So so that was another reason why I got into Orgy. I do believe Rachel is going to get better reviews. But Trumpets. What are you talking about? You talking about Snow White? I believe the lawsuits will happen to the Trump administration of JFK. Look, all of that needs to happen. They just need to flood the zone. Like he's flooding the zone with all his stupidness. Y'all need to flood him with lawsuits. I know girls who watch because it's like a fucking soap opera. Yep, it is 35 years old. And I saw that the what is it? The Veronica Louise Ciccone, Madonna Louise Veronica Ciccone podcast. They put out something where it was like the anniversary of Vogue and stuff. Today is the 5-year anniversary of Conan's Gray debut album. I was up till midnight listening to it when it dropped. Sad he couldn't. Well, he did put out the new album. Did you not like the new album? Scream 3 and Sweet Home Alabama. Sweet Home Alabama. Yeah, so I didn't know it was 5 years though with Miss Conan. It's a cute little cell. All right, y'all. So let's move on. Let's talk about Miss Gal Gadot, who basically had recently got her start on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Unfortunately, or for some, fortunately, her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame was interrupted by pro-Israel and pro-Palestine protesters, where the police had to step in. So shout out to Variety for this story. It says several dozen protesters showed up just before the ceremony was due to get underway, with the pro-Palestinian protesters holding signs that read "Heroes fight like Palestinians, Viva la Palestina," and "No other land won Oscar." Actually, it did. How y'all gonna go up there and hold that no other land won the Oscar? That is funny though. Now, as with the Snow White premiere earlier this week, the area on Hollywood Boulevard was tinted off and fully not visible from the street because a lot of people were scared, and that's why a lot of people stepped back because. And funny thing, I was thinking that, and I didn't even think about it. When I was thinking about the whole Snow White situation, I was thinking it was because of what Rachel Ziegler said, but I feel like what she's getting is from the people on social media. I think most people are going after Gal Gadot because remember she fought in the Israeli army, which is mandatory from what I'm hearing, and that's why a lot of people was like, "Well, we used to like Gal Gadot. What happened? Like all of a sudden everybody hates her." And I said because people saying she's a Zionist. And she was like, I had to speak up for what's happening in Israel and stuff. And nobody's saying that we're all for what happened to on what was it, October 6th, October 7th, whatever. But comparing that to what the people in Israel and Netanyahu's doing to the Palestinians, um, that's Disney compared to what your people are doing to Palestinians to try to steal their land and hijack the West Bank with the help of our current administration, and the fact that Miriam Adelson gave Donald Trump hundreds of millions of dollars so that way they can do whatever they want to do to Gaza and the West Bank. So if we're gonna talk about it, let's talk about it. So now that so I've totally forgot because I was thinking it was more or less because of Rachel Ziegler, but I was like, yeah, Gal Gadot's in the movie too. So it's probably that people they didn't want to they wanted to limit the premiere, and I thought it was probably because the movie sucked too, which I'm hearing mixed reviews on. But no, it's mostly I think it's because of Gal Gadot and a lot of her being from Israel and her political stance on certain things. So the crowd shouted, "Up with the liberation, down, down with occupation, and not another nickel, not another dime, no more money for Israel's crime." One thing I will say, y'all definitely know how to throw together a cheer. Now, Roma Alekos, who stood across the street from the tented area, told Variety the following. I was like, let's go to this picture so that way y'all can see some more stuff. This is what they told Variety. They said, "We're all really upset about what's happening in Gaza right now. For the last year and a half, and especially in the last 24 to 48 hours, 400 innocent people have been killed by the Israeli army unprovoked." And during Ramadan, I should point out. He went on to say, "There's no reason we should be celebrating an Israeli," referring to Gadot. He expressed his disappointment in the actress for not using her platform and for keeping her head in the sand. She has the ability to learn and read the same books that we read. There's just no excuse. The crowd grew over 2 dozen on each side. Now, content creator Dana Nikri was holding an Israeli flag. Speaking with Variety, Nikri recalled how her friends had gone to the Nova Music Festival on October 7, 2023, saying that they were murdered, saying that they come to our home and take us from our home and give us dead children, she said, adding, "We don't start war. We don't want war at all." Really? Y'all don't start a war? And I really feel like this whole situation was an excuse on Netanyahu's part to go in and just do 10 times worse to the Gazans. And I truly believe that Hamas wants peace in a lot of situations. I feel like also when you push people far enough, and I'm not excusing the behavior, but I understand why they did what they did. Same thing when I said with Luigi Mangione and his alleged killing of the United Health CEO guy, is that when your back is against the wall and you're constantly seeing people being taken advantage of, kids walking around with limbs missing, or that they have no anesthesia and you're preventing food from getting into these countries, when you're cutting their power, when they don't have clean water, when I'm seeing video footage of a man holding his son as his head is hanging a piece of the head is hanging off because he's dead and it's hollow inside and there's no organs inside of his head. When you're seeing these things and you're trying to compare that little situation that happened and y'all have no empathy, that's the thing that angers me. And the fact that if you say these things, that you have a current administration that wants to have you rounded up by ICE and deported. Even people who were born in this country without due process. So the ceremony finally got underway, starting 15 minutes late. The protester could still be heard chanting throughout, and police responded after pro-Palestinian protesters stole an Israeli flag. Well, I was going to say, you know what? At the end of the day, let's not get physical. I feel like we should have the right to protest, which is our right as Americans. The First Amendment. But regardless of how angry you feel at how our country is handling this situation and basically just rolling out the red carpet for people like Netanyahu, but you treating Zelensky like a piece of shit, regardless of what your political beliefs are, let them chant what they chant, let you chant what you chant, but we shouldn't have to take it to being physical. We can protest with our mouths, and we can protest with our hearts and our energy and all that other stuff. We don't need to protest by snatching people's flags, smacking people upside the head, throwing a brick at them. Throw the brick at the building. Don't throw the brick at the person. I'm thinking Stonewall. So Gadot, who was honored with a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame in the ceremony emceed by Steve Nissen with Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins. Isn't Steve Nissen her husband or whatever? Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins, Fast and the Furious star Vin Diesel, and Shira Haas also making appearances to Lord Gadot, saying, "I'm just a girl from a town in Israel. This star will remind me that with hard work and passion and some faith and the lack of acting lessons, anything is possible," Gadot said as she stepped up to the podium. She thanked Diesel and Jenkins. She told Diesel, "You took a chance on a complete unknown and invited me to the Fast and the Furious family, talking about starting big. It was my first movie ever, and your faith in me completely changed the course of my life." She thanked him for trusting in her and added, "We're always family." Well, yeah, to the point where her ass supposed to be dead, and they had her pop up in the last damn movie with no freaking explanation. So Gadot told Jenkins that she was her Wonder Woman behind the camera, going through this journey together. "You've been a beacon of light and have always guided me with love and compassion. Working with you taught me to trust myself and my powers as an actress. It was only after our movie that I finally started to call myself an actress." Yeah, because she had to try to make sure that you could hit all them beats. Because I will say this, she still ain't a good actress. I would like for her to get to a place of like Dave Bautista, where it's like he didn't start out great in the beginning, neither did Channing Tatum's, but they worked hard at what they got and they became phenomenal at what they do. Now you look at people like Channing Tatum, now you look at people like Dave Bautista, and they're well respected within the acting place because they push themselves to want to learn. She still lacks that personality. She's pretty to look at. But outside of that, ain't much there. She also, they said that Gadot, who is Israeli, has been an outspoken supporter of Israel on social media as well as in a passionate speech she delivered on March 4th, but she was honored at the Anti-Defamation League's annual summit in New York City, saying, "Never did I imagine that on the streets of the United States and different cities around the world, we would see people not condemning Hamas, but celebrating, justifying, and cheering on a massacre of Jews." And I feel like this is the part that pisses me off about people like her, because nobody is sitting out here saying that, yeah, we want to see Jewish people die. Nobody's saying that. I don't want to see Jewish people die, but I don't want to see innocent, excuse me, innocent Palestinian women and children and men being killed either. And these are not Hamas. These are just regular people. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians are killed, have been killed since October. Where's the outrage for that? But you're talking about a couple hundred people, and I don't want to sit here and try to measure with numbers, but from what Israel is doing compared to what Hamas did is basically, what is the word? This is like it's peanuts compared. So for you to not to condemn both sides and say, yeah, I condemn Hamas, but I don't agree with what Netanyahu is doing. I don't agree with the fact that the army is going in and they're killing women and they're raping and killing women and they're going in and they're just playing target practice with Palestinian kids, meaning that y'all are from a distance just shooting little kids in the head for sport. These are things I've seen. These are things the mainstream media don't want to talk about. And it'd be nice if she would have addressed that, but I get it because you are part of that world, because you partook in the Israeli army. You're going to defend your people. And that's why the people out here are protesting against you, because you are a problem. And trust to believe, Vin, I know you decided to resurrect her from the dead in Fast 10. You put her in this damn movie. If she comes back and forth as Fast 11, expect to see this exact type of protesting going on outside your movie. Because it feels like from now on, any little thing that Gal appears in, and you know Hollywood's going to protect her, anything that she appears in is going to be a bunch of people outside protesting against her because of what she's been saying in her speeches. But she said that while she previously stayed away from politics, she felt compelled to speak up following Hamas's terror attack on October 7th. When people were abducted from their homes, from their beds, men, women, children, elderly Holocaust survivors were going through the horrors of what happened that day, I could not be silent. I was shocked by the amount of hate, by the amount of how much people think they know when they actually have no idea, and also by how the media is not fair many times. Well, it seems like the media has been more or less fairly on your side than the opposite side. So I don't know what the hell she listening to. And this is why people call her a Zionist, because those are Zionistic speaking points or bullet points. And then also went on to say, when your compass is clear, your conscience is clean. I know what I'm advocating for, and I know what I wish for the world. Well, you advocate what you advocate for, and continue to see people going up against you. But she's not the only one they've been going after, because they went after Captain America Brave New World. There was protests outside of there because they included Israeli superhero Ruth Bat Seraph, aka Sabra, played by Israeli actress. Does it even say her actual first name? They just said Haz. But I believe there's another name in there. I don't think they realized that they didn't put her name in there. But anyway, they said protesters held signs that read Saber has got to go. Disney supports genocide, boycott Captain America, and pray for Princess Jasmine. They chanted phrases such as free, free, free Palestine, and Disney, Disney, you can't hide. So people out here protesting. We'll see how long that lasts, especially in this current administration who's trying to roll back our rights by the day. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards of Gal Gadot and everybody out there protesting? You had the Israelis on one side, you had the Palestinians on the other side, and Gal Gadot was in the middle trying to get her star in Hollywood. I just don't even get, sidebar, how the hell she getting a star? You ain't did nothing but Wonder Woman. That was actually worth watching. All the other, and yeah, she did appear a couple of times in the Fast and the Furious movies, but Wonder Woman was the only movie that you led that was actually good. Everything else you was in was bad. That Netflix movie was terrible that you was in. I'm hearing you not that great as the queen in Snow White. And you getting a star, but I forgot. You can actually buy a celebrity a star. So I wonder who got it for. It might be her husband who's a producer in Hollywood. So I say all this to say, whatever your thoughts are on this, let me know in the comments down below. Yeah, that's what I was hearing too. I said you could buy one, and so it turns out anyone can get a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame for $75,000. Yeah, don't cost much. She served in the military and doesn't regret it. 8th-generation Israeli, she said, but her parents are from Austria and Poland. Changed their name to sound more ethnic. And it's funny because I remember one time I was talking about, but it was talking about her. It was like, oh yeah, they all had to change their accents to sound more like her in the Wonder Woman movies. For like, they wanted to have like this from Metaskira and all this other stuff. Or Themyscira. What's that Metaskira? Themyscira. And they were like, and one of my friends was like, she basically just sounds like my aunt because she's from Israel. So you basically had like this thick Israeli accent. So it ain't really like they all just had to mimic how you sound. He said mediocre actress riding her mid-tier looks and her privileged ethnicity. That's exactly what it is. And don't understand why people don't like her. Protests ate her up. Yes, they did. It said, my 39-year-old baby boy. got kidnapped for attending Coachella outside Auschwitz. Thanks for describing what is actually happening. We need to confront the truth. And well, that's all I do. It's like, I'm going to bring y'all the truth. It's like, I've seen the videos. I ain't want to see it, but that's the only way you're going to know what's happening. We absolutely have the right to protest and to boycott, two American rights that we should exercise and protect. Yes, we should before it's too late. So now, here's somebody we should be protesting towards. Justin Timberlake out here looking like somebody's grandfather at 44 years old. It's like, damn. It's like, because until you do right by Janet and Brittany and all the other people you shaded, everything you look like is going to be aged. So the people was out here clowning Justin Timberlake because they said, damn, what happened to him? But I truly think it's stress and past scandals have caught up with him, because there's no reason why he looks like this at 44. Like, he and I are around the same damn age, and I look younger than him. Now, Justin Timberlake is in Argentina for the latest leg of his controversial world tour, nearly a year after it kicked off in Vancouver, British Columbia. The Sexy Back single, who definitely needs to get his sexy back, or as Prince said, he never had it, is playing in Buenos Aires on March 21st to mark the first of the 4 concerts he's performing in South America. And hopefully he don't, and that's tomorrow, so hopefully he don't cancel and be like, I'm sick, when you were sick from all that damn drinking, allegedly. However, the NSYNC alum was spotted in Argentina capital city, appeared weary and tired as he stepped out of his black SUV, flanked by bodyguards. Jessica Biel's husband wore a Los Angeles Dodgers baseball cap with a black button-down shirt and olive green cargo pants. The Crimea River hitmaker's beard sported some serious gray, making the father of 2 look older than his years. The new Mickey Mouse Club star was entering a pop. Okay, can y'all stop with this? Like, Jessica Biel's husband, the Mickey Mouse Club star, was entering a popular steakhouse called Don Julio to enjoy. Well, I only know about Don Julio, the tequila. Don Julio, to enjoy the country's famous high-end steaks. The outing came weeks after fans were unable to sing along. My God, y'all are shady with this. But let's keep going. The outing came weeks after fans were unable to sing along with his flop new song at a Minnesota concert on February 24th that earned scathing reviews. Fans of the pop star were left disappointed by his show in St. Paul last month, where he insisted on playing new songs hardly anyone cared about. While fans were hoping to indulge in nostalgia and see Timberlake perform his most famous hits, they were instead forced to endure meh material, per a scathing review by the Minnesota Star Tribune. Timberlake was slammed by performing as many as 11 songs from his most recent album, Everything I Thought It Was, which was a commercial failure. He was apparently embarrassed when he asked fans to sing the album single, but the crowd didn't know the words to the song, which made little impact. Like, child, read the room. Fans were also disappointed that a monolith tour prop Timberlake has used during the encore, at previous shows failed to make an appearance. Instead, the singer performed hits like Mirrors on a secondary stage that some fans complained was not central enough. One fan on Facebook said that Timberlake spent quite a bit of time on the second stage at the back of the arena and finished out the show back there, so lost a little luster for anyone towards the front. And I've seen artists do that before, where they'll do like a smaller, they have like 2 stages. They have like the big main stage, and then they'll go back and do the small stage. I remember when I worked Aventura's concert, Romeo did the same thing. He went and was on the main stage for a bit, and then he went to a smaller stage and did a couple of songs there, and then went back. Billie Eilish did the same thing. There was another segment. She had like 2, I think she had like this weird looking design stage. I remember because there was one when she came out and did Guess, she pops out on this smaller stage to do her part, and then she goes back to the main stage. But she didn't, a lot of these artists didn't finish out on a smaller stage for the whole show, because then those people that was in the front now got to turn around and look the other way, and they can't really see you and engage, because if you lose your spot, I don't know how his stage was designed, because I didn't work his tight ass show. But when the way that the stage is designed, if you're on the floor, if there's chairs or whatever, but if it's like a full open floor, then those people that stand on that one side are not going to try to push through everybody to go to the other side to see you, because then they think you might come back to close out the show on the main stage. So the St. Paul show was the penultimate, excuse me, U.S. show of Timberlake's Forget Tomorrow World Tour. It seems like this tour has been forgotten, which has been mirrored by scandals, including his DWI arrest last summer. As noted by the Star Tribune, Timberlake was supposed to perform in this city last Halloween, but postponed the show due to bronchitis and laryngitis. So yeah, he was having all these issues. He was having all this other stuff. But here's the thing. Now, they said the once beloved former NSYNC member has had a rough couple of years after his treatment of ex-girlfriend Britney Spears was put under a microscope during her conservatorship battle. Spears made explosive claims about their tumultuous romance in their 2023 memoir, The Woman in Me. I feel like when they can't go any lower with the shade, the Daily Mail, because this is where I got this from, y'all will sit up there and continue to just rehash a lot of old stories that y'all did and just continue to add fuel to the fire. But this was a read of already. I had a cackle reading this. But in regards to the whole thing of like him, the way he looks, yeah, Justin looks rough. Justin looked like he'd been through some stress. Remember once upon a time, Justin was cute. And then you look at him now, it's like, ooh, what happened? It could be years of alcohol abuse. Some white folks like him, I don't think he moisturizes. Some people say it's karma because of what he did to Brittany and Janet and how he stepped over many toes. He probably took that death becomes her potion, and that he was able to retain that youth for a certain amount of time and other tides is turning. And, he don't have no melanin up in that skin. So sometimes white folks, they age like spoiled milk. And so it is what it is. I can't see him getting a facelift, because then he probably will be out here looking crazy. You don't want to be out here looking like, the back of a baboon's ass, because you get so much injections in your lips and your face and all the other stuff. Just let it just do what it do. But yeah, it is kind of some nasty work that you 44 years old and you literally look like you in your mid 50s. Like you had a hard damn life and you was out on the streets smoking that meth and you about to go into rehab. Like, that's what that's given with that old man skin. But look, I don't know if you want to call it karma, but it seemed like that's what it is. So, or it just could be genetics. It just be that, some people, once they get to be a certain age, they just age 5 years. And, he's lived a life being in the entertainment industry. And when you look at somebody like a Usher, where Usher still look like he ain't aged, and Usher is, 46? And still look like he in his early to mid 30s. It's probably because, black don't crack. He takes care of himself and all of that good stuff. Whereas Justin letting himself go. He thinking all that golf is going to keep him in shape. But anyway, I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards to them saying that Justin Timberlake out here aging like old rotten 2% milk? So whatever y'all thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Looking like a geriatric snack. You have permission to cry, Argentina. He's not okay. Justin looked literally haggard. But then again, we aren't used to seeing celebrities age, naturally. Well, yeah, because, they all out here getting nips and tucks. I even said, look, if the time comes that I need to use, well, look, see, my forehead still move. When the time comes that I need some Botox, I would not rule that out. I would definitely get Botox. I would never turn that away. Now, as far as like going under the knife and get a face up, hell no. I would never botch my face up, especially since there's people out here paying to get my lips and things of that nature. So, I would rather just get a little shot here and there in the forehead, not to the point where I can't move, because I need to have expression. But I would not mind getting a little Botox. I remember one of my friends asked me that. I was like, yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. Who wouldn't want to get a little, get some really a little crow's feet and things. All right, y'all. So let's get into how many more topics we got. Let's see how many more topics we got. Okay, y'all, we got about 4 more topics left until the end of the show. If you can, please do me a solid and hit that like button and that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. It helps with the algorithm. It also helps with my monetary situation because I do get paid by YouTube now that I got enough followers and things of that nature. Also, if you want to throw in a super sticker or whatever, you can. I ain't too proud big. It definitely helps with this independent show that I put together because I am a band of one. Also, what I will be doing is I will be putting in, but if you don't want to send money, because I'm not begging for it, but I kind of am. Definitely hit that like and subscribe button because that actually also helps. But also, I'll be putting in timestamps throughout the show when we're done, so that way you know when or you know if you don't want to sit through all the banter stuff that we do on the show, you can just skip right to the topics that are at hand or part of the docket. Please and thank you. So now, without further ado, let's talk about Elon Musk and his daughter Vivian, estranged daughter, I should say, because she don't want nothing to do with his ass. Is out here criticizing her father, who's on the cover of Teen Vogue. And I feel like because a lot of people don't like Elon Musk, Vivian, the fact that she's out here windmilling against her father, I feel like she'll get fame because of that, because she could be the anti-Elon, and it should be the gateway for her to drag that mess. So Vivian Wilson, who's 20, hasn't exactly been shy about critiquing her father. Twitter owner and Tesla CEO Elon Musk, aka Sissy SpaceX, aka or Sissy SpaceX, aka Apartheid Clyde. Now, during a lengthy interview with Teen Vogue published on Thursday, Vivian shared her candid feelings about that man when asked if she's scared of him. She said, quote, "He's a pathetic man child. Why would I feel scared of him? Ooh, he has so much power. No, 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 I don't give a fuck. Why should I be scared of this man? Because he's rich? Oh no, I'm trembling. Ooh, shivering in my boots here." Okay, she is too funny. She said, "I don't give a fuck how much money anyone has. I don't. I really don't. He owns Twitter. Okay, congratulations." The 20-year-old acknowledged that most people thrive off of fear, but she's not giving anyone that space in her mind, saying the only thing that gets to live free in my mind are drag queens. Now, Wilson also addressed her dad's newfound political involvement with President Trump and her reaction to him heading Department of Government Efficiency, which would be Doge, or AKA Doge. She said, quote, "I'll see things about him in the news and think, that's fucking cringe. I should probably post about this and denounce it, which I have done a few times." Now, Wilson specifically pointed out a gesture Musk 53 made during a Trump rally that some people compared to a Nazi salute, which they try to call with some sort of some salute from, they were trying to say it was something else. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was saying like something similar to what they did in like Rome and all the other stuff. I was just like, that's some bullshit. First of all, that was a Nazi salute. Let's not act like it's not what it was. And then they try to blame it on autism. And it's like, sorry, you're not autism. You're just an idiot. She said the Nazi salute shit was insane. This is what she told Teen Vogue. "Honey, we're going to have to call a fig a fig. And we're going to call a Nazi salute what it was. That shit was definitely a Nazi salute. The crowd is equally to blame, and I feel like people are not talking about that. That crowd should be denounced." However, Wilson, whose mom is Musk's first wife, Justine Wilson, said that other than that, she still does not give a fuck about him, saying, "It's annoying that people associate me with him. I just don't have any room to care anymore." Now, Wilson confirmed that she and Musk have not spoken since 2020. She told the outlet she does not keep up with the 8 children that Musk fathered with other women. She also was saying like she didn't even know that her father had other kids until, remember recently where so like he had like, I think, what does he have, like 13 kids now? So recently, I think like a day apart from each other, some women got on social media and announced that they had a kid with him. And she was like, "I'm finding out the way y'all finding out on social media." He said, "I will say that I do not actually know how many siblings I have. If you include half siblings," she admitted, "I don't really give a fuck what they do. That is not my problem. Okay, well, look, the moral of this story is today, Vivian do not give a fuck about what goes on with her father and what he's, anything about him. She ain't got time to have his energy or whatever the case is in her situation. She said, so that's why she been reiterating she don't give a fuck. IDGAF. Now, Musk and Justine also welcomed Vivian's twin son, Griffin, and 19-year-old triplet boys named Kai, Saxon, and Damien while they were married from 2000 to 2008. And here's I thought Exashe 12 was Damien, the way that little boy been acting. The college student has previously spoken out against her father, accusing him of allegedly using sex-selective IVF for his kids. She has also publicly called him a serial adulterer and alleged that she disowned him. Well, one of the things I always love about people is that when you got an asshole for a father, that you actually have the cojones to call them out on a BS. And I'm glad that she actually has been out here windmilling hard against Elon Musk, because he is a felon at the end of the day. Basically trying to dismantle our government because he don't want anybody looking into his businesses, but also making $8 million a day from our government. Yeah, he gets paid $8 million a day from us, from our tax-paying dollars, and nobody's talking about it. So I said all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards to Elon Musk's daughter on the cover of Teen Vogue throwing shade at her bastard ass father? Her that no good ass, robber baron, welfare queen, POS. Whatever y'all thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so let's get to the comments. True. Vivian is right. I don't give a fuck about a billionaire. Sissy SpaceX, not too much on my girl. I do like Sissy SpaceX, but look, if you were a drag queen, that's what we call them, Sissy SpaceX. Vivian has the tea, and we live for it. We live for the shade. All right, so let's get into America's Next Top Model news, because it seemed like ever since Tyra came out and did that, what was it, Essence speech that, according to Yaya DaCosta, they didn't even know she was going to make an appearance, probably because they wanted to surprise people in case anybody was going to come up in there. Ever since then, it's like a lot of the girls from America's Next Top Model have been kind of weighing in and giving their thoughts on the show. So we had Yaya came out recently. I think we've had other girls that have come out and spoken out about America's Next Top Model. But also now we have Isis King, who was like the first trans model to ever compete, excuse me, on America's Next Top Model back in the day. I think it was 2008. So yeah, so back in the day, Banks welcomed King to join the competition series in pursuit of a modeling contract worth $100,000 as King impressed the supermodel with her poses as an extra during a separate ANTM shoot centered around homelessness on Cycle 10 1 year prior. I think she was also homeless at the time. With an invitation and trial for Cycle 11, King graduated from living at the Alley 40 Transitional Housing Program and into the ANTM mansion in Los Angeles, becoming the first openly trans contestant in the show's history. Saying, I first appeared on ANTM just about 18 years ago. Damn, how time flies. And I'm still so fascinated by the effect it had on pop culture. I'm forever grateful for the impact my presence as an openly trans woman had on the contestants and the audience, read King's statement to Entertainment Weekly. It pulled the curtain back on a topic that should not have been controversial as it was. While Banks and the show's judges were adamant on highlighting King at a time when the fashion industry typically represented little in terms of diverse forms of beauty, King's fellow contestants, including Clark Gilmer and Hannah White, were shown making insensitive comments to King regarding her gender. King performed well during her short time on the show, earning a second-place finish on a first photo challenge and became a fan-favorite model across a handful of episodes. She was eventually eliminated in 10th place on episode 5, but her pop culture impact was lasting. King later appeared on a 2008 episode of The Tyra Banks Show with a titular host, introducing King to a surgeon who assisted with the model's transition, and she later returned to compete on the show's Cycle 17 All-Star Edition. And I think probably it was because at the time, I don't know, I don't want to say if Tyra probably caved into maybe what was going on in that little silo of a show, because they film the show and then they air it, kind of like RuPaul's Drag Race. But for the most part, it was just like, I guess you saw like how much ISIS was liked because we got to see that representation of a trans girl on a reality series around modeling. And that's not something we've ever seen before. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it also revealed on this season's RuPaul's Drag Race when uh Betsy Johnson was on the episode and she was like, I was the first fashion designer to actually incorporate trans models in my runway shows. I know Marco does it, but Marco that came years later. But Betsy Johnson was doing it. And then when they went and showed when it was mentioned, they showed, I believe, a photo of Isis King on the runway. So I believe that it was Isis who made her appearance on the show, I mean, in her runway show, and Betsy Johnson was the one that actually brought in a trans girl to walk the runways. And it's like, it's weird how, like, in these day and ages, we still have like the first one to do this and the first one to do that and all that other stuff. But I'm glad that we have people still out here breaking barriers. And that's when we go back to that original story that I did a couple of episodes ago, where we had Peppermint and Frankie Grande wrote an open letter to the industry where we need more LGBTQ inclusion into reality TV, because I don't know if they realize this, but when you look at a lot of reality shows, I really feel like the reality TV, not necessarily scripted TV, I think it is to a point with scripted television, but for the most part, you hear so many people, especially with me growing up, a lot of times I would see representations of myself in certain situations when it came to stories that were told on reality TV, particularly like The Real World or shows of that nature. And most recently what we had with Drag Race, even though yeah, they're all drag queens, but when you hear those stories from those girls, you can relate to a lot of the stuff that they talk about when they talk about homophobia, and then you talk about transphobia, and you talk about like all the things that HIV awareness and sexual assault within the same sex community. When you hear those stories, like, yeah, those are relatability things, which is why I do feel like reality TV is definitely the place where we can get the more of the representation, where people who are at home and they're watching these shows, they can become more open-minded and more accepting. I don't want to say tolerant, because tolerant feel like, oh, you just accepted me for whatever. And I don't like tolerant because it's like, okay, you're just going with it. So I'm all for just, it makes you come around and really accept people and respect them, because you see people that are different than you that you would never see in your lifetime. And you watch them, it's like, you know what? These people aren't as bad as certain pundits of political parties try to make certain people out to be. So kudos to her for bringing her in on this show. But with me going on that rant, I got to go into what Isis had to say about America's Next Top Model, because she did weigh in to EW, that she said that, yeah, that the show was a difficult experience in select ways, because, we also had people who were on the show who were queer on America's Next Top Model. We had Ebony Haith, who was in Cycle 1, and Kim Stolz from Cycle 5, Megan Morris from Cycle 7, and Michelle Babin from Cycle 7. So Isa said the following. She said, was ANTM perfect? No. Would I have had the same success story without bearing my heart for the world to see, hoping the opportunity redirected me from poverty and allowed me to travel the world, follow my dream as an actress, model, and artist? Probably not. Pointing to her, she finishes pointing to her career that has since included modeling shoots, including for American Apparel, her acting work, where she appeared in The Bold and the Beautiful, Shameless, When They See Us, The L Word Generation Q, Good Trouble, Amazons with Love, and the lead role on the Whoopi Goldberg produced reality show Strut. Oh, I do remember that show. Strut I liked, but that only lasted one season. Now, other contestants have echoed King's sentiment about top models for imperfections. In EW's 20th anniversary oral history celebrating the show's 2-decade-long impact on culture since its 2003 launch, 14 contestants spoke about their experiences on the program, with many highlighting issues from on-air sexual misconduct to the show tasking models with wearing dark face makeup to portray different races in photo challenges. Banks herself even recently admitted at the 2025 Essence Black Women in Hollywood ceremony that she said some dumb shit on the show, but celebrated 24 cycles of changing the world in terms of how the fashion industry saw beauty. Now, in a statement to EW, a spokesperson for Banks said that the controversial shoots of the controversial shoots that the intention was to combat an industry where lighter skin and straighter hair were pervasive beauty standards that perpetuated deep insecurities within women. The spokesperson maintained that such shoots were meant to be a moment celebrating and spotlighting underrepresented ideologies of beauty, textured hair, and darker skin on a global scale. Now, EP Ken Mock declined to comment, while representatives for producer Laura Fust Silva and creative director Jay Manuel did not respond to EW's multiple questions for comment at the time. And we know that Jay Manuel has come out and said some things in regards of America's Next Top Model and his relationship with Tyra. I believe there was I forget which interview it was, but he talked about a couple of years ago. I think when he was coming out with a book that was based around his experience, but the names were changed to protect the innocent. So he was doing something like that. But yeah, so a lot of times with these shows, and I know a lot of people come out and they start trying to clown America's Next Top Model, and y'all want to run around and start saying things of like, yeah, it was problematic, and yeah, to a degree it was, but you have to realize that was the time. That was the way that we things were at the time, and now we look back on it and it's like, yeah, it's cringe, and we know not how. When you know better, you do better, and when you know what you shouldn't be doing, and maybe that whole idea about the women in blackface, the intentions might have been great, but the execution was the issue. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? I mean, in regards to America's Next Top Model, have y'all even started watching America's Next Top Model? And now that they're reviving old shows, like we got Heidi Klum coming back to Project Runway, and I'm still mad at y'all that y'all didn't ask Tim Gunn to come back. But I'm gonna still watch it because Heidi is gonna be coming back. Would you like to see a reboot of America's Next Top Model? I think it might be time to bring that show back, in my opinion. But I know some people might be feeling away. But it will be interesting to see, like, especially in this day and age of the way modeling has changed versus the way it was 20 plus years ago. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Okay, let me close those windows. Let's get into, all right, y'all, let's move on. Let's get into some drag race news. So Sam Starr recently spoke out and said she might be interested in doing an OnlyFans with Miss Angeria Paris VanMichaels. Y'all interested in seeing some caca porn? Come on, caca porn. Let's get because the time has come for you to subscribe to OnlyFans. So now Sam Starr is currently slaying the competition on season 17 of RuPaul's Drag Race, and she's receiving a lot of love online, including from All Stars now winner Angeria Paris VanMichaels. At a recent Rocco's viewing party in Chicago, VanMichaels admitted that she'd love to hook up with Starr. She said anywhere and anytime, well, it looks like Starr feels the same way, and she even joked that she'd be down to film it. This must have happened during the Q&A, because they worry about to pay $2 to see them do a Q&A, whereas we don't get that with the show. So she said, it feels correct. I'm an attention whore. I've been this since birth. Angeria texts me, well, we'll have to do a collab. Mr. Sister OnlyFans collab. I was like, I have to win or no one's going to buy it. RuPaul, help me out, girl. This is what she told Pride. Well, I love you, Sam, but I don't think you're going to win the show. Now, while Starr is certainly a fan of VanMichaels, she is just recently become friendly with her season 17 sister, Lydia Butthole Collins, after the two got off on the wrong foot at the beginning of the season. She said, you saw the show. I got close to her right before her elimination. I should have given her a shot from the beginning, but you live and you learn. I love Lydia. Well, look, if y'all ever turn out to do a All-Stars together, or maybe now that y'all are probably out here trying to get bookings and stuff, then maybe y'all probably run into each other and y'all can do something together and hang out more. Now, Starr apparently is, as you know, is sitting pretty with a solid track record as part of the top 6 of Drag Race. So the queen is hoping she can get the crown back to her home state of Alabama. Because then it'll be interesting, because it'll be a mother-daughter who wins, or is she the granddaughter of bring home the crown, because Trinity the Tuck has a crown. She won All Stars alongside with Monet Exchange. And now if Sam Starr takes home the crown, which I heard some people say that they think Sam is going to win. But I'm looking at it as like, it's between Susie Tootin and On Your Nerve. I'm just really strongly feeling that they're going to be our top two. And I think it's because didn't RuPaul say in the last episode that Anya Nerve is a powerhouse? So when it comes down to like the way she brings her point of view with her fashions, yeah, it does give very Ungawa Black Power, very similar to Simone in a lot of ways, where she embraces and she truly pulls up with her Black excellence in the fashions. But when you look at that, it was just like, besides that and the acting challenges and the comedy challenges and stuff she's doing, Anya's been excelling. And I would like to see, and Susie too, yeah, she's kind of like in the same boat with Anya. But to me, Anya is bringing more to the things. And I think this might be also just, Anya might win because it could be justice for y'all not giving the win to Safira Cristal, who we all thought was going to win last season, but then y'all gave it to Nymphia. So, in regards to the top six, I do see Sam Starr in the top four. I'm still on a toss-up between Jewel Sparkles and oh my god, I forgot her name, the trans girl. How did I forget her name just that quick? And I see her in my head. Lexi Love. I definitely, it's a toss-up between those two, but like I said, if next week, if you kind of get in your head again, then I'm pushing you out of my top four, and I'm basically about to swap you and put in Jules, because I always feel it's a toss-up between those two who will end up in the top four. But this is who I see it for. But yeah, lingerie girl, your days is numbered. And if Lydia didn't mess up that lip sync, I really feel like you would have went home in the last episode. So you got saved by some scissors. Now, they said that it's been a dream for so long to have been proud of what I was able to do. I'm over the moon. I would be so grateful. Win, lose, or draw. I'm just excited to have been a part of it. Wish me luck, y'all. In fact, Star winning the competition would be a very special milestone, as the queen nearly quit drag in the early days of her career, saying never give up, because there's many times when I said, is it going to happen for me? I almost did stop pursuing this. Thank God I didn't, because I wouldn't be here. All of those inner saboteur demons, don't let them take over. Believe in yourself. And I agree with that, because a lot of times I think that we allow our inner saboteurs to take over, and we miss out on many opportunities. I feel like, even myself, I'll admit that there's been many times where I've allowed my inner saboteur to affect opportunities that I've had. And then I'll be like, I should have did that. I shouldn't have walked away from that. And, but you live and you learn. And you learn a lot, let those saboteurs, get the best of you. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of the story? Would y'all like to see Angeria Paris, VanMichaels, and Sam Starr hunching on camera? I mean, there's quiet as it's kept. There's a lot of drag queens out here already doing adult performances and stuff, and got their own OnlyFans and things of that nature. So why would these two be any different? But the only thing is, once y'all do that, you got to keep it up. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Someone says, I have a feeling from tomorrow's preview that Sam might be in trouble. Sam, you in danger, girl. Oh, I didn't even watch the preview. Because I know it comes out every Thursday. But yeah, I didn't catch the preview. I'll watch Drag Race as soon as I get in tomorrow. Because I got a 5:00 call time for the Disturbed concert, so I'm like, yeah, damn. It's like, their fans must be of a certain age, because I'm like, damn, our call time is. But then again, we do have. I forgot. Actually, there's 2 opening acts, so the call time will be early because we have 2 opening acts. Sam does seem like one of those Southerners who are open to interracial relationships, and Andy does have a history of white guys. Well, she did say on yesterday, when I was watching Roscoe, because I watched it yesterday finally, that she loves ass, and so do I. So there's probably a lot of white booties he looking at. But look, if your ass is sitting, you can sit it on my face. That's what I'll say. All right, y'all. So let's get into our final topic, and let's get into this Drag Race tea. Because it's funny how after Lydia Butthole Collins was eliminated last week, now this story, courtesy of Pink News, because I guess it must be a slow news day. I mean, it kind of is on the gay blog side, because I was looking for some stuff, that now Lydia Butthole Collins' name is circulating yet again as one of the queens. And we've mentioned this many a times in passing on the show, that rumors are swirling that Lydia is on All Stars 10. So now back in October of 2024, before we knew who would be competing on the 17th season of RuPaul's Drag Race, rumors were swirling that Lydia Butthole Collins would also be seeking a second chance at redemption on the 10th season of All Stars. Now that she was recently eliminated after botching her lip sync against Lana Jarre, those rumors have resurfaced once again. So when the late great Tina Turner sang the legendary line, "The big wheels keep on turning," in her cover of Proud Mary, it seems like she was referring to the all-consuming RuPaul's Drag Race franchise. 17 seasons into the flagship franchise, the RuPaul-fronted drag queen reality television competition shows no sign of slowing down, at least on I would say, on the American side. With the recent confirmation of Drag Race Philippines, Slage and Royale, an apparent respective 7th and 3rd season of Drag Race UK, and UK versus the World already filmed, as confirmed by Ru, that much is obvious. But there's also allegedly All Stars 10. The season of Internet Sleuths will have a different format to every other previous All Stars, a larger cast consisting of 18 former Drag Race competitors and a mid-season filming break. Because there is a rumor that's going around that they have stopped production. They're going to start up production again on All Stars 10 and they haven't finished the season, which I think is relatively interesting how they're going to do that. Because what the rumor is, it's 18 girls that are competing. They're going to compete in 3 groups of 6. They're going to eliminate half the cast. And then what happens is they're going to have the girls come in as a full-fledged. It's going to be like 9 queens that are going to compete as like the full cast. But they have girls where it's going to have 18, 3 groups of 6, and then they just cut them down in that way. I'm like, if they did that, that would be relatively interesting. If you're going to do separate, if you're going to separate the girls in groups of 6. I was like, that will be interesting. Now, to see how they do it, that'll definitely be the key. Now, of course, one of the queens that was mentioned back in October, before we even knew she was actually on Drag Race All Stars, season 17, Lydia B. Collins, aka Lydia Butthole Collins, who, won season 17's villain roast and then was eliminated the following week. So they said, yeah, she already filmed the first part of All Stars 10, which means that the entire rumored cast of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 10 will have no idea who Corey King's boyfriend is, should the cast list be accurate. This rare feat, returning to the workroom immediately after its regular season, has only been accomplished by a few queens. So we have Latrice Royale and Chad Michaels, season 4 to All Stars 1, Aja, season 9 to All Stars 3, and Monet Exchange and Mo Hart on season 10, from season 10 to All Stars 4. Now, as for the queen who knows Lydia on the All Stars 10 cast, Mistress Isabel Brooks, one of the queens that Lydia roasted in her winning Villains Roast set, is also rumored to be making her return. But now the thing is, who are the other queens that were mentioned that, in case y'all need a reminder, of who's going to be a part of the cast? So, in addition to Lydia and Mistress, vying for the seat in the Drag Race Hall of Fame, the other queens that are supposed to be allegedly appearing on the upcoming season are Aja, who's in season 9 All Stars 3, Bosco, who's on season 14, Deja Sky from season 14, Irene Dubois from season 15, Olivia Lux from season 13, Phoenix from season 3, Georges, yes, who was just on All Stars 9, so she's from season 14 and All Stars 9, as I said. And they're actually in group. What they said group? Oh, they're in group 1. Group 2 would be Carrie Colby from season 14, Nicole Page Brooks season 2, Tina Burner season 13, and Acid Betty season 8. And group 3, we have Alyssa Hunter from season 14, Cynthia Lee Fontaine season 8 and 9, Diabetica from season 14, Denali season 13, Ginger Min season 7, All Star 6. How much was that in order. That wasn't I didn't name 18 queens, but I'm definitely curious to see who them other 18 girls are. That the full cast of girls. So this is like the rumor cast so far, but I don't think they have all of who's going to be on the show. But I am relatively interested, genuinely curious to hear who's going to be a part of the show when it happens. So yeah, All Stars. The way that this sounds like, I think it sounds good. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Now, don't get me wrong. I did thoroughly enjoy what they did last season, where they were doing it for charity, and we got to see the overall fashions and looks and things. But we definitely got to shake up the show. There has to be eliminations. The girls got to bring it. I like the whole idea of doing 3 different groups, and then you kind of bring them together, and let's see how this whole twist situation happens. So I'm excited to see what they do with All Stars 10 when it finally happens. But we are getting close to the end of season 18. So if this is true that they only did half the season and now they're going to start up again, how soon are they going to start up before we even get an idea of the official confirmed cast for All Stars 10? Because I'm thinking that, at the end of RuPaul's Drag Race, once it starts to wrap up, we should be knowing who the girls are on there. And another thing I want to know too is this, because y'all did this with the challenge. We had the challenge All Stars was always on Paramount Plus. Then they decided to air it on MTV. Now I'm wondering if the same thing will be for, excuse me, for Paramount Plus. Will All Stars remain on Paramount Plus, or you're going to pull the same move as the challenge and have it on straight to MTV just because y'all need the viewership. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this list, the rumored cast, and who do you actually think is going to be on the list, and the twist and all this other stuff that I brought up in the situation? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. It said 3 queens from each group plus 1 wildcard producer pick will make it to the semifinals, which will begin filming next week, I assume. I was thinking that, they have to start filming the rest of the show, because if we're getting down to the wire with Drag Race, everybody be so distracted with the regular season RuPaul's Drag Race. It's like we could start filming the rest of All Stars now and then get that out of the way. And then right after that, I go into not All Stars. After we done wrapping up All Stars 10, then we go film season 18. Can it be universe? Can it be this just as this? Can I be this busy like RuPaul? I couldn't even get the word out. It's like, I want to be this busy. I would love to have a franchise that I just like, we got so many damn spinoffs and I get to host it and just travel not only to the US, do the main show, but to Canada and the UK and other English speaking places. Because I feel like the shows with RuPaul are the ones that really get the success. So I would love to do that, because I'm like, look, the way you get to just film and keep your car busy with all of this stuff, like that, this would be a fun time. And then eventually I get to have my own festival, like, or convention. Avalon Con. 1 queen from season 13, 2 queens from season 14, 1 logo era queen, and one third competitor is in each group. So I love how I was the one that told you the All Stars 10T. Yeah, all of this was coming out, and I think I heard a little bit of stuff about that, but then when you told me, I was like, okay, it's confirmed, because I heard somebody who was also in the inside that did tell me the same thing about this, but I kept forgetting like what the format was. Then when I was like, you had said the same, I'm like, well, damn, then this is getting around. So yeah, I knew they were going to split it off, but I've forgotten that they were going to do it in like these different groups and all the other stuff. I had to be reminded of that. But yeah, I heard it from you, and I heard it from another person, my Drag Race insider. Because I knew Georges was actually going to be on this season also. I knew about that. And I had heard about the other queen somebody from season 17 was going to be on there. But anyway, We are at the end of today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning into today's episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Once again, if you can, please hit that like button and that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I'll be back on Monday with a brand new episode of the show. So definitely have a great weekend. I hope you guys go out and get some air because isn't spring about to sprung this weekend? So I think we're about to go into spring. So it might be tomorrow or Saturday. I can't remember. When is the first day of spring? Let me see. Tomorrow. Oh wait, isn't it today? Oh yeah, today is the first day of spring. It says the 20th. Today is the 20th. So today actually spring is officially sprung. So yeah, enjoy the weather. Hopefully we get some good spring weather and we still not got winter out here trying to fight to keep up with us and all this other stuff. So yeah, have a great weekend. Enjoy all whatever it is you enjoy. Get out, get some air, go get drunk. I don't know. Have a couple on me. And I'll be back and see you all on Monday. So until next time, as I always say, love you all and ciao, darlings.